really? Do you know that? Wow. Okay. Do you even you know who said it, Joe?
He doesn't know the reference.
Sometimes you might have seen the meme somewhere. Obviously, it's a fantastic movie, and if you've never ever had Mom's Meatloaf, then you want to make sure it's Will Ferrell's Mom's Meatloaf.
Yeah, it's from old school, I believe.
No, that was Wedding Crashers.
Oh,
that one.
Crashers.
Yeah.
See, so I missed it, but would have got.
But you know Will Ferrell. That's the thing.
Course.
At least you know Will Ferrell.
We were actually
Still gotta watch The Hawk.
Last night the
Hawk.
Last night we made homemade meatballs, so similar to a meatloaf, but we put it in ball format.
Meatballs,
so,
meatloaf.
That was really tasty there last night.
Meatballs are obviously better.
Shout out to the wife, but it's okay. Good day. It's 11:01. Thanks to Derek. Glad to have you back.
Meatballs.
We're going to be joined by Sia momentarily as well. Thank you to Fabian, because without Fabian, then we wouldn't have got all this money today. So we want to thank Fabian for that one. We want to thank Andre as well over there. Big shout out to One and Only. He's here today as well. Thanks, Brendo. Ramin is here. Tiffany, everybody that's part of this great team. Shout out to Sharif as well. He'll be back, coming out very, very soon to a stream near you. And so will Joe. So we have a big show coming your way in just a matter of moments. But hey, it's Meatloaf. It's coming out, to a plate near you. Well, hopefully the meatloaf will be okay. Maybe it has a little bit of sauce on it, Neil.
I don't trust these guys for the meatloaf, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't really.
Hopefully the meatloaf is good. See ya, everybody. We're back at 2 p.m. We'll chat then.
Put some hot sauce on.
Ciao.
I just want to be free. Oh, man. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show.
Guess who it is?
This guy right there. This guy. Yep, him. That's your boy, Joey Options.
What's up?
I'm Sharif, and it is a beautiful day in the great city of Toronto.
All right.
The humidity is a little elevated on my liking, but the weather is pretty good, Joey. I gotta tell you, ever since I dropped a little bit of weight here, man, I get a little bit less hot. I'm gonna say I kind of like that.
That's good, man.
Yeah. So I can complain a little bit less about the work. Let's say hello to everybody though, huh? Chronic. We got Chronics in the house.
What's
Oh,
up?
Canada, he says. We got Travman. He is him. Yannick. Christian. We got Jesse Hernandez.
No, he's not.
Is back in the chat.
he's not.
Oh, my day singing. You know I'm going to sing, Mr. Hernandez.
No, it is. He's not back.
He's there, man. Miko. I told you he messaged me last week, bro. We're happy he's back.
my
Arcane.
God.
Kirk D. Los Palos. John Zuver. We got Jody.
What's up, Jody?
We got Penuru, Ginvesting, your owner, Travman, Scott, El Jefe. I love it. El Jeffy. El Jefe. Hangry Wife. We got Human, Kirk D, Cryptonomics, Tisha.
Oh.
We got Tisha. We got Genius Man 14. Wrist up, he says. Who else?
Oh.
Raheel, Anwar. We got Snowman 11. T, what's up? We got Quantico YouTube. Galadriel. Benton. Let's go, Vinny. Benton, lie to me. Tell me this is the real deal, man. Vinicius frickin' Jr. may not extend his contract with Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And word around the pitch
is
he's headed to Arsenal, to North London. Can't be more excited for that. Tech Lion, Chunky, Greg Moore, Joey.
Lion.
Everybody's in the house.
All right, yeah. I hope everyone had a fantastic week, and it was a beautiful one here in this city, and hopefully likewise wherever you may be residing. But VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales. This week, VinFast India partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access, while Green SM launched all-electric ride-hailing in Kazakhstan with VinFast VF6 vehicles. Together, these moves highlight VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem strategy. You can find them on the NASDAQ under ticker VFS. All right, guys, enough is enough. Let's get into some of this trading. We took a short here. We'll just break this down. A quick short on NVDA. Boom, that would have been nice to hold it all the way through to the low of the day, but we did not. So that is not necessarily the case that we were in, but very important. Oh my God, man! Oh man! Why it's Monday, Adam? We can't have pizza on a Monday.
I'm like, it's so early, bro. You're already printing. You see your friend over here, Katina, man? He's sending more pizza, brother.
Okay, all right, Friday. So yeah, appreciate that, man. Pizza all up on its way, but brother, we can't have any pizza today.
He promised us last week.
It's just straight to the gym. I know he promised us, but
What
this
a
guy's
great
sending us
man,
pizza
bro.
once a week. This guy's, he's a real one, that's for sure. We'll
He
hit the
is.
stone cold for you.
He talks a lot of smack, but I do like him.
Well,
He was smack talking my concert.
But see, the thing is, though, I guess you can talk smack, but then after proceed to send pizza, and then it just
It
kind
does
of
makes everything
you know
a
what I
little bit
mean?
better.
A little
Well
bit
said,
better,
Joey.
right?
Well
So,
said, man.
by all means, all right, guys. So let's see what we had going on here. A little scalp on NVDA. Boy, oh boy, did we get ourselves into a mess
What
here
happened,
early.
Joey?
I mean, we were up bigly and then we were down, and I'm like, oh no, I'm laughing about it. Shreve's like, why are you laughing? It's like, I can't help but do that, right? That's just how insane this game can be
boy,
at
Joey
sometimes. But here it is. Right out of the gate, we take a loss, but then
Get it,
I
Bubba.
doubled up the position. Boom, off to the races we go. And then that's at that point we were up, all right? And then again, we take a little bit more off. Still not having the ability to catch the bottom here. I'll do a transaction just so we can, so you guys can see my current position. But oh, I wish I held on to a little bit more size through this move. But again, we tried, and this one I put on my largest position, doesn't work off the lows. I'm like, all right, flip game, not so strong. Get out immediately for a small scalp, and then I re-enter once again. So we're about like 4 or 5 trades deep here on the triple Qs. But finally, this one at 61.87. That's our average price finally working out for us. Man, oh man, Tank City here in NVDA. Guess what?
What?
I'm going to buy some more. And I was saying to Sharif, be cautious because I think the breakdown hasn't even really started in AMD. Look where we're hovering around, right? 484. I do believe there's going to be some more downside in this bad boy. And then we also last week went over multiple bull traps, okay? This is going to be one of them here in NVDA, and we're going to go through even more once Sharif has gone through his list here momentarily. But first things first, you can see the support levels really starting to give way here in the NASDAQ. I'm totally cool with it. Why? Because I'm just going to buy some more out.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm happy about sitting on a little bit of cash. But hey, man, we talked about this for quite some time. We just go on these fast and furious moves on the way up, and then guess what? SanDisk has been cut in half pretty much since its peak. So guys, be patient. Don't chase these moves because you're going to be able to get some half-decent prices.
I love it, man. Assassino, I've got a suggestion here from a viewer. It reads as follows. His name is Lyndon Meyer. Talk to Andre. You guys got to try Brazilian feijoada. Help me out, Assassino. I can't. Why am I can't hear? Yeah. Oh, because of the fantastic change again in the settings. Okay, we got to talk to production team. One more time, Assassino. Feijoada. Thank you. Feijoada. Okay, Assassino. What is that? If you don't. Very typical Brazilian dish. Beans. Pork and beans. Protein. And carbohydrates. I love it. And then you're going to get a fair share of fiber there, Joey, too.
Okay.
Shout out. Thank you very much, Lyndon Meyer. We shall do that. Andre is in the chat. No, he isn't.
Oh, maybe we should get him in the chat. That'd be good. But he's busy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
That's
man.
probably
He's
a
on
bad
the ones
idea.
and twos, my guy. El Papa Smurf, Sharif, Joe, just work harder at the gym to get beans off. All right, buddy. Adam, ETA, guys, 11:23.
Ram got it covered.
TTV, you know the drill. Ram, is she here? We love you.
All right.
But there may or may not be a pizza at the door at 11:23. She may or may not come back with it.
That's
In
fair.
other words, she's going home with the pizza in hand. Love it.
Fabian went
Zenzong.
home with it.
Shout out to my man. USA put. He's up 70% on his USA put. But let's get right down to work, Joey, shall we? There's a lot moving here. So we're in kids. Topping tail candle through 68. It broke through the pre-market high, which is at 755. The pre-market high was 65.59. The official day high now is 68. I feel there could be support at 60. I defend into 60. We're already long 65. We got a couple of profit takers. Nothing to write home about. We're looking for a bigger squeeze. But there's a lot more going on. As you can see, top right of your screen, the rocket ship known as ASAN. We can call this ASEAN just because the ASEAN conference was going on last week, so that's still in the back of my mind. 782 high, showing 75s now. Nary a glance at the 10 EMA on the 5, which will always be the solid green line on my charts. I like this around 2/3. Let's see if it makes its way down there. Then we're looking at some inverse leveraged ETFs. You're going to see the likes of SNDQ, right? That's not technically a small cap gapper, but we're going to keep it on watch nonetheless. Genie, GENI, bottom right of your screen, 740 high, coming back down now to 7.25. I do like this 715 to 720 area. 715, the top end of the initial range, also overlapping with the volume weighted average price. Let's see if it holds up there. And then CORD, CORD. This is a holdover from Friday, as you'll be able to tell by the left side of the screen. It's doing far less volume today. It's also not up that much, about 3% and change. But guess what? This is still putting in multiple day higher lows and higher highs. And for 2 New York cents and Nick Dubb, actually Nick Dubb, not 2 New York. Nick's been asking me a lot more, hey, can you suggest a small cap gapper to swing overnight? And by the way, the amount of people that I met at the BlossomCon, viewers, first of all, there was a lot of you guys that were there, and I was super happy to meet all of you. But what really struck me was the amount of you guys that are holding these small cap gappers overnight as swings. I personally have never done that, and I was really, really surprised by the amount of you guys that are actually doing that. I always asked everybody I met, what do you trade? And, you know, I would say about 35% was large caps. And then I would say about 50% were saying small caps, but almost like 80% of them were saying that they were holding them overnight for a multi-day run, something I have never done.
Oh, really?
So I was really surprised by that.
Okay.
In any event, CORD, CORD, having a lot of trouble with $9 here at the moment, despite the fact it has a 922 high. Look how many candles reject right here in the high 8s. I'm talking about 898, 897, but it's got some higher lows, so could break through 9. Keep your eye out on that. I'm also looking at some others. BIYA looks like it might have had its best trade behind it here with a 460 high. It does look like there's all sorts of resistance at the $0.50. Volume weighted average price just a little bit below the $0.50, okay? So it's still on a downtrend. Keep your eye on this. LVWR, this is a good one here, but it is breaking down below the volume weighted average price, and it's starting to scream to me here, flat bottom break through 250. If you can find locates on this one, this might not be a bad idea to set up short. And if Luis is in the house, I'd love to know his opinion about what he thinks about a 250 flat top break. LVWR, the ticker I'm speaking about here. I see kids dropping. I'm going to be looking to defend into 55 into the volume weighted average price. And then last but not least, ENTX, up big. We're talking about 81.5%. It is about, 50 pennies off the high, showing 3.25. High of the day is 4 1/5. It's got a lot of resistance, at $4, despite 420 being the high, but it is doing a very similar pattern here. Higher lows, area low is the low of the day at 277, and then you have another double bottom here at 3.25, and now you have a higher low at 350. So higher low, higher low, higher low, all the while that $4 area ends up being a staunchy area of resistance that we're going to keep a very close eye on. ENTX, we're going to pause for a second. We're sending you up to see it with news.
Yes, keep an eye out on USO here. That's down more than 7% on the day. We have a couple comments coming in from U.S. President Donald Trump saying that we are having deep talks with Iran. If they're not successful, we will return to powerful military action. And we are having more comments coming in saying that the window of time for achieving a breakthrough with Tehran currently remains short. This is from Israel's Channel 12 interview. We also have Trump explaining that he had granted the request of the mediators who asked him to provide an opportunity for certain said talks. And recent comments a couple seconds ago saying, I paused strikes on Friday because countries mediating between the U.S. and Iran and other nations in the Middle East asked him to give him another chance to negotiate. USO continues to fall on the day.
I'm pretty sure he used that one before.
What's that?
That excuse. He did.
Yeah.
He's like, the Qataris asked him or whatever, and that was the whole thing. All right. So watching here, a bit of a recovery, Mr. Options Man, off the volume weighted average price on KIDZ, back to break even on this one. Looking for another attempt at the high of the day break. We get up to 68. You know where I'm waiting. Where's Ozan at? We're going to wait at 69. Obviously, we're going to look to wet the beak along the way, my man. What are you looking at? What is the situation?
Yeah, Gorev, I've seen you in the Bud Monster. No, none of that, my sir.
Neil?
Good sir, but no, Gorev, man, we should be up significantly more. I mean, we are negative on the day, but I mean, it's been a pretty good month, to be honest with you, with the exception of Friday and then here today. I mean, if this was the case after this little scalp, even though it doesn't look even though it doesn't look like much, it's the sizing that matters, right? So, I mean, you grab 30 cents or so off of that level, and then boom, that's it. It was like, okay, day made. But then it was like, all right, let's see if we can find ourselves another bottom. And then after you take a couple more attempts, and I didn't size correctly because I was just like, oh, you know what? Let's see. Let's try it one more time. Even though if you look from a bigger picture, it's a structural breakdown, right? Like NVDA, same thing. Let's actually do that right now, considering I'm just sitting in the NASDAQ long. 61.87 is our price. We ran up to 63.40s. Now, I'm going to look for any form of continuation within the longs, but I do believe we might turtle shell and just curl right back over. But there's multiple examples that we can actually go through right now and just kind of compare some of these bull traps because it happened on multiple underlyings, all right? We're going to kick things off. Bang. This name's already already displayed here, right? So $1,258. This is what I was saying to Sharif and everyone else. We have Sandus down 47%. But here's a prime example of where we thought a name was going to bounce off of those lows. 149, 150, right? Right where SpaceX opens up at, it traps a bunch of individuals, and then from 170, you're down 36%. 36% from that level. Here, you want to go through another example? No problem. And we did this on IBIT, where you believe that it's like, okay, we're going to find ourselves some form of recovery. Even though it's prolonged, it's really important to follow the volume profile, but it's still within this trend. So you take this move higher, like, all right, I do believe we're going to have the ability to break and head lower. And then now it's the exact same narrative. We'll go through a couple more here momentarily, but this is just a breath in the underlying. And at this pace, I believe we're going to be able to set ourselves up pretty nice in the middle of this structure. And if it gets even uglier than what we're expecting, watch that 160 level to break on NVDA.
Joey, I just got to remind everybody a quick one here. That Trader TV Live members on YouTube get mine, Sharif's, daily morning research note every single trading day that I am here. We are speaking about the big market stories. We're talking about the key technical levels, the trade plans, how to get in, how to get out, what to look for, what prices are important, as well as the catalysts, what major news headlines you need to be looking out for. It comes with a swing setup as well as an intraday setup, and exactly what we're kind of watching into the open. All the macros, all the technicals that you need. It is only $4.99 a month, and you also get members-only videos, you get members-only posts, custom emojis, and loyalty badges. Hit the join button below this video to become a member. Shout out to the great folks who have signed.
I want to cover
Absolutely, Joe,
one more thing here. So Sean and I were briefly just discussing. It's like, man, what's going on with the NASDAQ and what Apple's doing? Man. I think there's multiple tailwinds for Apple right now. You have $100 billion in share buybacks, and then also the fact that these guys aren't CapEx heavy. I think that has a massive influence on why this specific stock, both of them combined, is going completely opposite of the market. While we're breaking through key structure, but yet we're printing all-time highs. I told you 340 is going to be absolutely nothing here for Apple when the company is really starting to take control of their shares and dwindle the complete float. Even though it's 3 or 4%, whatever it may be, that's a substantial amount. Sharif.
Joey, Bovin gets me pumped up, man. Anytime anything breaks out, I know Bovin's in it, and like usually I'm in it too. There goes kids into 67 pennies. Here comes 68. There goes 68, Assassino. And guess what? 69 is in the freaking house. 69.75. We got 59s on this bad boy. Guess where I'm going to wait, Joey? We're going to wait at 71s. And then, believe it or not, we may or may not wait at 74. It's a rumor. Don't believe me.
Ooh.
No. Seriously, here we go again on KIDZ. I'm thinking $0.75 now. I don't expect it to be in a straight line. If it is, fantastic. If it's not, I'm looking to defend key technical areas in the same way that I added into the volume weighted average price. We're going to keep a close eye on this. 68 pennies acting as key resistance. I should tell you, I've picked up shorts thanks to the Neil on LVWR. We may or may not be going short a small cap today. I'm liking the look of this one's jib here for a flat bottom break. Let's pack the patience. Everybody's yelling about DFNS. We're going to take a look at that as soon as we get back from SIA.
NVDA falling a little bit over here, a couple of minutes coming in. This news, NVIDIA has made a multi-billion-dollar investment in Ilya Sutskever's safe Superintelligence. He's one of a computer science geek. my apologies. Nvidia has made a multi-billion-dollar investment in Ilias. Let's give her safe. Superintelligence coming from the information. Nvidia is dropping over 4.5%, trading around $197.5 at the moment.
Ilias Sutskever is obviously very big time. If you're in the AI space, you know exactly who he is. He's like one of the biggest of the big right now. But shout out to him. Here we go. And he has a very checkered relationship with Altman. Are you surprised? Somebody has a checkered relationship with Altman. Oh my goodness.
I was honestly going to say something. You were talking about big time. I told you the situation.
What'd you say,
what
Joe?
we were looking for moments ago, and it's just like that. Listen, I need the. I think that's a little bit too egotistic.
What happened, Joey?
Egotistic though, Sharif. I want the Conor McGregor surprise, the king is back. Yeah. I was surprised. Just like that. Can we pull up the screen here, please? And thank you. After a couple of missteps earlier, it's just like, all right, man. What else are we even gonna do here if we're not gonna try? Bang! We just literally we just add a lot of shares right here, and then we got that big time pop. We go from green to red, back to green.
The green.
You guessed
I was gonna say orange.
Oh,
but,
orange.
You know.
That's all right, man. We like orange.
My bad.
I like orange. C+, only real Canadian. Oh, I shouldn't even say that. I was gonna say only certain people know C+.
Okay.
The OGs.
I'm with you on that.
The
C+.
OGs. Yeah, C+.
What is that? Well, the other one, something.
Crush?
Yeah, Crush. That's the one I'm thinking about, Joey. And you know what else I'm thinking about? I don't want to say the name, but so I'm going to say the ticker, KIDZ, lest you think something different of what I'm doing. KIDZ is Rip City. Rip City. 7134, we got 59s, and now, like a psycho, we're shorting LVWR. I like the look of this one's jib, possibly down into 2. We're starting with a small position because I don't short all that often. So we want to work into it. No big deal here. 70 penny resistance, big boy resistance here on KIDZ, despite the fact that we've been up to 7134. There is somebody continuing to sell in and around the 70 area. So it's preventing us, of course, from ascending. We've taken out, I want to say, about half the position so far. So no, a little bit more. Pardon me. A little bit more than half the position. In fact, I would say about 2/3 of the position. Pardon me. So we're looking for 74 next, Mr. Options, and then we're going to look for 77s on this one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep a close eye here on LVWR, and I'm thinking I'm going to be shorting likely into 275.3.
Sorry, Ram Pizza's here. Someone Pizza is here as Adam James. I just wanted to say that. She's there? She's got it? All right. Cool.
Yeah. Well, bro, come on. Ram? She all over that.
I know. So I can't do a pizza review, though, today.
You're not going to do it?
Should I do it?
Why not?
Carbs? Well, I mean, it is Monday.
Train?
I don't typically go crazy. Like I'm truly appreciate. No, you know what? I will because it's Adam James, and I appreciate. Someone said I'm unappreciative of what's going on. I think I'm a very thankful individual, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he doesn't ask for much around here.
Yeah, I don't ask for much, even though I do need the surprise, the king is back thing, and that will be good after that point. But no, seriously, thank you very much for that, guys. I think the whole team is extremely grateful. I know the whole team is extremely grateful for that stuff. So yeah,
there's no question
really
about it, man.
We're gonna have to get out break even here as the market is gonna continue to bleed. But I mean, we just flipped the day around just like that. So bing, bang,
Apple all-time highs.
Apple all-time highs. Do you think the share buy? I think
Apple's gonna tank on earnings. You want the truth? I think it drops big on earnings.
Which
is fine with me, baby.
No,
absolutely
you're gonna
fine
just
with
buy
me.
some more.
Yeah, and I haven't bought in a really long time.
No, so. my question to you is being the point that I made not too long ago, just in the fact of how much the combination between that investors are moving from a flight or from the individuals, the hyperscalers who are spending all of this money to Apple, who isn't necessarily doing that. But then you also have the corporation buying back a mass amount of the shares, 100 billion.
But let's be honest, it's not all sunshine. Unreal movement here. 75.62 on KIDZ.
Bang.
No, I exited my entire position.
Oh.
But it's okay. I took it out at a key technical level at around at 3/4. So I'm happy about that. That was a mistake on my part there. But I want to say it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We know that they are facing higher component costs. Higher component costs eat into margins if they're unable to pass it off to the consumer. Now, if they do pass it off to the consumer, does the consumer continue to buy? So that's my concern there.
No, I think there's going to be a couple of things that come in. Like, my first question is how many bips are we talking about from a margin compression standpoint? Right?
A decent amount, Joey.
A good amount. We went over the conversation, the fact that the memory storage is about 13% of total iPhone cost to assemble them from start to finish was 13%. That was going to be increased, obviously.
Dog. It bumped from $50 cost to $250.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It increased. So before memory storage went through the roof, it was 13%, around 13% of total cost. Now, we already had a pretty big growth cycle in iPhone sales with the 17.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised the combination between the increase in pricing and the majority of people already upgrading their phones that you will see a slight decline in sales, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a hindrance.
Okay. Well, I hope so, bro. I mean, I'm not going to be happy. Oh, my Lanta.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, my Lanta. Look, did you open them already, Ram? So you got my Lanta. Don't worry about it. So we got meatballs here. We got olives, and we have onions. So it's beautiful, and obviously a little extra cheese there.
Oh, man.
So this is beautiful.
The crust is done. Yeah.
Guys, you have no idea. Sharif reviewing the pizza is so funny to me right now because he never does like junk food, so I've never seen you like do this kind of thing.
This one's kind of similar, Sia.
That one's
This has got jalapenos. It's got, I think, what is that? Is that, that's bacon, and then that's salami. And I'm assuming that's, again...
salami, bro. That's ham.
Ham? Yeah. You got ham there, and then that's salami. The darker one and the lighter one, right?
Bacon.
You got a couple of those.
I don't know if that's salami. Do you put
in any event, man, whatever it is. It's some sort of meat. And then you have, again, the onions.
Oh, you got the jalapenos on there?
You got the jalapenos on there, Joey. And then last but not least, let's go over here. Oh! Straight pepperoni pizza.
That's all right.
That's how I like my pizzas, man. Let's just keep them simple.
I'm gonna have to review that.
You're gonna have to review it. Well, we're not too far away from lunch right now.
Yeah, man.
It's only like half an hour. I'm okay for now. Thank you.
No, I'm good right now. Thank you.
It's beautiful. Adam James, freaking abroad, bro. No, I am not Muslim, FXJ. I am Coptic Christian. About a minority in Egypt. About 15 to 20% of Egyptians fall into that. So that's what I am there. So, it's all good for me. I can, indulge, please. Joey, what are you looking at,
man?
Yeah,
same thing, man. I'm thinking about getting in a potential reload here. I mean, why not, right? Like, we already battled back. We've been on a roller coaster today within the overall market. But the issue being is I don't want to think too much about it. There might be a shelf potentially forming here. And with that being said, it can break. And we can see some more downside. What I will be doing is going against the largest, I don't think it is anymore. Apple definitely surpassing NVDA from a market cap standpoint on today's session. Excuse me, down to 196.90. I'm going to be buying more. Full disclosure, the position that I've been building for the past couple of months now, my average is around 208 now, 208, which isn't obviously the great, but anytime it's like, okay, I was buying JPM, so I offload a little JPM, and I wouldn't suggest doing this as sending good money after bad. Like JPM hit all-time highs, I'm pretty sure, here today, and I offloaded about 30% of my position, and then I just bought some more NVDA down here around $200, and now it's $4 south of that, so good times over there. But in all seriousness, JPM, once again, running into a 359 all-time high, and then we have just a structural breakdown in a lot of these tech names in this AI build-out. So that's something that we most definitely want to be patient with and keep our eyes on. Too fast, too furious. All right, like this was Tokyo Drift over here, 100%. And that's why I said, I'm like, there's zero chance that I'm going to be chasing this move all the way up here. If you ask me, this leg from where we're currently sitting at right now is just overdone. I can understand this, but without any form of aggressive pullback back into previous structure, for me, I don't like it. And that's why I didn't buy any of these memory storage names, all right? Like the Micron, SanDisk, Seagate, Western Digital. Like, look at Western Digital. SanDisk getting hit the heaviest. What does this mean for the Kospi? Man, Don, where you at, brother? Did you buy those puts? Because if the Kospi's just getting absolutely destroyed, that was such a great play. And shout out to the individual who was buying USO puts. I think that could be a good time now to buy some OTMs. potentially, but you want to wait for the momentum to slightly pick up. But here's the cost right here, down 30%. Like that would $6,300. This is why South Korea isn't. This is why South Korea isn't allowing any more leveraged products. Because now you have, when you're down 30%, if it's 3, you're done, right? Like you're
Over.
The leverage products are down 90%. So it's just, again, so many accounts getting blown up. I would love to, maybe I'll do a little bit of research on that, how many margin, I don't know if they have the same regulations as what we have over here, but there's a lot of people losing a lot of money using these leverage products in South Korea. I have actually a pretty cool story. I don't know how cool it is. Anyways, I used to go to summer camp. And I told you guys a lot of the stories anyways. And we would have a week, Korean week, which was a lot, where all the kids from Korea would come over and they would get to experience the northern side of Canada, of Ontario, and we would do canoe trips with them and everything. But I'll get more into that momentarily because me looking at the Kospi last night was actually pretty cool.
Sorry, I wasn't concentrating. I want to hear about the story from the Panhandle.
Yeah. Okay, so as a kid, I used to go to summer camp up in northern Ontario. And a specific week, we would have kids come over from Korea. And they would come and do all the activities with us, skateboarding, canoeing,
cool,
watering, right?
Yeah.
But this one particular year, and I didn't understand this as a kid, is that there was a group of them. They would all hang out together. But there was this one individual who they always avoided, right?
Huh.
This one particular year.
He came with them, though.
He came with them, but
Okay.
there was this one kid they actually particularly avoided. And as me just always being curious, I'm like, why is this the case throughout the whole week? So it turns out that one kid, all the other kids were from South Korea, and he was from North Korea, right?
How do you get out?
Don't ask me. But I just remember this story like it was yesterday. So they didn't hang out with him because he was from North Korea. Yeah, but as a kid, I didn't know the difference or anything along those lines. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Yeah. Very interesting stuff, man. So
very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, make bullying great again. I don't know.
No,
about that,
it's not even no. That's what
I
it
get
was.
your point, though.
That's
I
what
get,
it was,
I get
though,
your point.
right? Like
Clearly,
it was,
here,
as children, you didn't understand because we were all preteens.
Well, they have different cultures, from
Very
my
much
understanding,
different.
right? Like they have
Different
different accents. Like they've been separated for a long
But
time.
it was just like, hey, you stayed away
That's
from.
interesting.
Yeah, very.
I want to know how that kid got out, because it's not easy to get out.
It's not
man.
easy to get out, man.
My understanding.
Yeah.
You missed the entry on kids at 65 touch. I was thinking about it, Bub, and I didn't miss it. I was watching it here. I think kids might see $1, guys. Okay, 75.62. Here comes 75 again. We know that there's a big seller at 75. The squeeze is going to be pretty aggressive here, I think, through 75, maybe into mid 80s. I don't think a straight line. In fact, I'm pretty sure not a straight line to $1. So you will have opportunities to set up on this one. Trade it carefully. It can turn in a minute. We've done 130 million shares on KIDZ. There's a good spread here, like in a good way, not wide. So that can kind of help you get in, get out without getting too much in the cut up business. But what I want to do right now, Buvin, maybe set up towards 70 with a stop through 65. So we're going to take about maybe a quarter of the position initially took, so that we don't give back some here, especially punching in at highs. So there it goes. We're looking for a move above 75. So here's what I'm going to do, Joey. I do like these liquidity testers, right? To test the liquidity above a key technical level to see if we're able to move through that level, right? Just so I can kind of get a gander about what kind of actual selling there is above a key technical level. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm putting it a little bit above 75 right now. High day, 75.62. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. I'm also building my short position into LVWR. I like the look of this one's jib. I like the lower highs. I like the flat bottom into 250, but I don't have to be super quick with it. I know how the shorts set up because I know, because I watch them for the longs, right? I'm looking for the opposite thing. So that's all I'm doing right now. We're looking for the opposite on LVWR. Let's set up appropriately here, get in at the right price with the right size, and hopefully we'll get a nice 250 break on this one. And while I wait for that, you needn't wait any longer for the euro close. We're going to send you up to Adara and Juan.
The European markets are closed for the day, and one stock in particular had quite the session. Here to talk all about it is Juan.
Thank you so much, Adara. Hope everyone had a lovely weekend. So, European shares advancing as oil prices dropping sharply. most of the investors welcoming that U.S.-Iran military pause. If you take a look at the stocks, Euro 600 up by more than 0.4%. A lot of aggressive utility margin relief, as well as some rebounding industrial components. Now, Germany leading the region with a rise in about 1.42%. Travel stocks leading the gains. Lower fuel costs, of course, supporting their margins. Lufthansa jumping about 3%. And also chipmaker Infineon were up by 0.9%. That's after news of a stock market debut from Chinese semiconductor firm CXMT. So that helped Infineon raise their prices. In France, we got some luxury stocks spearheading, of course, the advance with Louis Vuitton gaining about 1.2% ahead of course, their first half earnings report. And on the downside, unfortunately, is Total Energies. They fell by about 2.4% because of crude oil prices tumbling down. Over the UK, easing geopolitical tensions pretty much pushed oil sectors down to the downside. We got Shell falling by about 1.5%. BP also down by about 3.5%. But on the other hand, AstraZeneca were added by about 1.7% after reporting second quarter earnings above expectations, as well as reaffirming their full year guidance. So the main story, of course, in Europe, we got that Middle East strike pause that's triggering that commodity deflation, European equities surging, of course, after that. We got Brent crude falling below $90 a barrel, which is a great sign, as well as WTI also falling to about $83 a barrel. That also, in turn, put down European natural gases. So that slid by about 8.4% overnight. And this utility price, reviving that of energy-intensive sectors such as glass, chemical, as well as heavy engineering, which was previously bottlenecked throughout the whole month. But other than that, for the week, we've got a lot of news happening in Europe. We've got markets, of course, preparing for major corporate updates from Louis Vuitton, Michelin, AstraZeneca, as well as interest rate decisions coming from US Fed, as well as the Bank of England to look out forward to in this week.
Keep an eye on ASML tomorrow, likely in Europe as well for day 2 after that big decline on that report from the information. So there's a lot to look at tomorrow, but there's also going to be a lot to look at this desk at 3:30 p.m. when one will tell us about what happened in the Asian markets. In the meantime, we'll send you back to the guys.
Pizza review.
Perfect. Yeah, we got a $10 super or $100 super chat coming up here momentarily. But I have to do our boy Adam James a favor, guys. I'm all out of the Nasdaq trade. Sharif's still in a couple here, but you ordered shorts,
like a psycho.
All right, man. That's how it's done. Nasdaq heading towards the low, man. 196 and still bleeding. Watch out. AMD could have some bad days. But here it is. One bite. Everybody knows the rule. This is the onion, jalapeno, bacon, and ham pizza here, guys. So one bite. Ham. But it's ham and bacon, not salami. yeah, salami. I don't know. I've never seen that. Anyways, all right, one bite.
You never seen salami on a pizza?
No, I never. Actually, maybe I have it. Yeah, it's crazy. Real Italian Zaw over there. But one bite, everybody knows the rules.
About. And what do you got, Joey? People want to know, bro.
Damn. I could sing.
You burned the lip there a little bit?
No, man, I could sing off of that pizza. That was it was great stuff, man. I have to give it I like the flavor, the cheese, everything is great. It's going 8-3.
It's 8-3?
8-3, man. On
That's crazy talk, bro. What kind of madness is that?
That's a good song, man. But yeah, you have anything? I'm gonna wait to reload here on the TQs. Sharif.
Yes, sir.
We have the, what currency is that? The DKK again?
Danish kroner.
Danish kroner. I have so much respect for you guys. Thanks for making this show possible. I'm curious about your backgrounds and how you ended here. Can you tell a story and spread some motivation? Much love.
Yeah, man. Well, I work with my old man, right? We have a pharmacy medical clinic business that we run, him and I together. It's a family business. That's kind of what I do, and that's leaves me some time to do other things, right? So that's kind of I've had 2 jobs going on for the last 5 years now, and that's where I come from. How about you? Sorry, I didn't mean to set you up. I didn't know you were taking a bite, brother. I do apologize. Get him, Joey. Okay, so I'll go on here as Joey munches down. KIDZ 75.62 high. It's really setting up here for an accumulation through 75. It's about building up in the right position. So I've, gotten little entries here and there. I don't mind defending in a 65, as Bovin astutely pointed out. There is a 65 buyer that was there last time, in the same way that, of course, there is a 75 seller. So let's see how this cookie crumbles. We're going to build a position nice and slowly and try to take this one into the dollar should it allow me, right? And then I'm also doing the same thing over here with LVWR. I'm building the position slowly. It's got support at 250. I realize that. I stop out through 3, right? But I want to build a position into the area high. Depending on how many shares I get will really determine where I'm looking for profitability here. But I'm thinking if 250 fails, there could be a good chance that we drop into 2. I'm trying to build a position slowly on this one because it is not my forte to short these small cap gappers, but Neil was kind enough to set me up with some of those. And by the way, for everybody on Real Trading, you guys, you're going to get a very, very good amount of shares for a very, very good price. Let me just tell you that. Let me tell you something, right? Real Trading does it live. That's kind of what they do around here, Joey. There goes KIDZ right back into 75. We're looking for a flat top break here, Bovin. So keep me updated as to what you see. This is zigging and zagging. It's failing right back into 67. This could be big trouble here. Let's see if it fails 65.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Now, guys, there could be a good opportunity for a rebound here in this name. That's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes out on. Oh, yeah, just to answer your question, 5 years ago now, which is, a crazy amount of time, I worked for a telecommunications company here in the beautiful city of Toronto. And then I had a bunch of friends during COVID who were getting into the investing world. I did so, and then just me being me, one step led to another, and I just had to take it to a different level. And then I was like, all right, day trading, let's see if we can get that going. And sure enough, I've been fortunate enough to find myself sitting in this specific seat here. So yeah, couldn't be more thankful for that. What I want to be thankful for here, though, Sharif, is hopefully catching the bottom on NVDA. It's such a dangerous play, but I don't want to follow the momentum all the way down there. There is some 5-minute signals on the NASDAQ that maybe can get us going. And it's been working for us, but don't forget, man, we've had some pretty iffy plays over here. This was a long, and then I got out, and then we're flipping short. Something that I highly don't suggest. And then sure enough, here it is. We grab off those lows, and it was the exact same signal that I was looking for here for this rebound for us to really add some shares. And then sure enough, we were fortunate enough to get going on here with this potential trade. So $62 holding up relatively well. NVDL is still, the risk to reward is actually pretty good considering the low would put us around 28.17. But it's just the momentum is so weak. And I talked about the trap that I believe has been set, which I believe is such an absurd thing to say, but it's the nature of the beast, right? Like, it's exactly what happens is that, okay, you have everyone believing, yeah, the PE is great. And I understand that because think about it. Google was trading at like 23 times for quite some time before it decided to go parabolic.
Breakdown on LWVR.
Then maybe
LVWR.
this is just what it needs, right? Like this is an accumulation phase that didn't last very long, if you ask me. All right. So I do believe that we're going to be able to get the middle of the range, 180, 170, maybe even south of that, Sharif.
Boom. Boom. All right. We're looking for more boom to the downside here. We just got some below 40. What do we have now? We have 65. It's not even that great, man. I have a couple of the entry points that didn't even add there. I had to manually add here because it wasn't allowing me to add for whatever reason. There was a defender at 75. Anyway, 250 showing up again, yet with another lower high. Looking for a breakdown. I want more. I'm thinking 2.25 on this, but ideally it's going to be 2. Now, you may get a big spike up. I'm thinking right into that 1050 high, which is about 292, right? Think about this, right? You're looking for 250 here. The longs are also seeing 250 as support. They might punch in. The shorts, like myself, who are short from 2 3/4, they're seeing that 250 area support. So they're wetting the beak, and there it goes again, south of 250. Give me my money, man. Let's go. Crap, Joey. We're screwing up here. There we go. Nice. On LVWR, I'm looking for 2.25 on this one. Let's see exactly where it ends up moseying down. Let's put a liquidity tester options, man. We're going to do that at 45, and then we're going to do one at 39 to see if anybody's buying here at the 10 penny level. So good luck here on LVWR. We're looking for a little bit more. What's the situation here on KIDZ? There goes KIDZ, right back into 73. It's holding that 10 EMA, but it is not rocketing up above 74. That has me concerned. So I'm going to put some profit takers there in the mid 70s to account for that resistance at 75. So I'm a little bit worried about that 75 penny seller on KIDZ putting up a damper on everybody's long party here. So if that seller on KIDZ wouldn't mind moseying on over and to start selling LVWR, I greatly appreciate that. Shout out to my man, Chain Reactor. Man, Rocket Lab was such a bad investment. Brother, I wouldn't use the word investment because I don't think it's been long enough. How long have you been in Rocket Labs? I'd love to know. Because you know how these things are, man. They're going to take a minute and a half to really get going. But I do see your point. You are at a key technical level here on RKLB. This is the weekly chart. There's a lot of support between 55 to 60. I would say 65 to 60, actually. There's a lot of interactions with that level. I hope you print, of course. But we know, to just be quite honest with you, I did take NASA as one of my new picks short, NASA short. Just because it would be a trade. I didn't categorize it as an investment, though I think that there's enough space demand to go around for there to be more than one winner, but it will require a long, a long-winded kind of patience over there. But to build on your point, it's 60% off the high. We're talking about RKLB. So, yeah, you probably don't want to hear that it's not a bad investment, especially if you're at the top. But yeah, there's really not much I can do about that, right? I happen to like the space sector. I think it's going to be a multi-year secular bull cycle, but it will be, wrought, I think, with volatility, and that's just part and parcel of the whole space trade. So anyway, LVWR, we're going to wet the beak here a little bit more. Nicely in the money on this one, but we're not in the money anymore on KIDZ. But I am looking at defending into 65. So let's see how this cookie crumbles. We're putting in some lower highs here, Bovin. Bovin, I think we're headed back to 60 here. We're going to probably be headed back to 60. If that's the case, I'll stop out and I'll set up at 60 because I don't want to be DCing into an oblivion on a small cap gapper. I just won't do it. We did it last week a couple of times, and it ended up being me being red on those days. So I don't want to go through that again. Let's stick to the plan. Let's stick to the rules, Mr. Options. We're going to stop out. We'll see if we can get some more if it fails.
Yeah, I like that, man. Just stick to the rules there. Let's see if we get any more of a bounce here on NVDA. I mean, we were up to 28.50. We turned things around, but I'm being slightly greedy on this one. You can see we have been rejecting this prior structure, so hopefully it just doesn't break down once again. I mean, we already at the lows, roughly around 4%. You're down 5% today. Holy cow, yeah, that's crazy, man, the volatility. And you know what I've noticed over the past couple of sessions is that the volatility, even to the long side, you pop all the way up to 214, I believe it was, and then you sell off to 207. And I mean, the average true range most definitely expanding in this name. If we can break this resistance zone, then I think we can take that next step, and then 28.70 is going to be that level. So we're going to try to diamond hands this one here. It's funny, I was just going through, just watching my basic videos there from your Sharif's favorite channel, CNBS, and our guy Danny Ives.
He was on this morning.
Yeah, was he? Okay.
So Morgan Brennan.
Was he? Yeah. I mean, he's Yorkville Ives now. Anyways. But yeah, it's funny because the headline on the one video, the thumbnail was investors getting impatient with Tesla. But it's like, haven't you been waiting this whole time to pretty much get to the point where you're at now? He's going to start production in robotics, and he's going to start full-on production at the Texas Gigafactory in Cybercap. So, I mean, if you've waited X amount of years since COVID or whatever it may be up until this point, I think it's a little bit too early and too soon to just kind of throw in the hat and say, yeah, we're done with this company, because he also believes there's an 80% chance that the companies are going to merge by the end of 27. SpaceX and Tesla, that is. So yeah, I agree with on the fact, like, I disagree on the fact that it's like, okay, you're getting impatient. because you've waited this whole amount of time for this specific. Now that it's actually happening, you're going to throw in the hat. I don't think that's the right thing to do. We can pull up the technicals on this. What I did is during the tariff tantrum, we were on a nice little run within this name. And then I actually sold right around the lows, right? I told you guys, gave back a bunch of unrealized gains, and I sold right after lows, and then off to the races it goes. So am I upset at the fact that we're pretty much back at the levels from March of 2025? Absolutely not. If you zoom out even more, it gets even uglier. Like, this is how much you've missed. You've missed nothing pretty much. October 25th of 2021, we're at those levels. So if you felt that you've missed out on the Tesla train, I don't think that's necessarily the case. There's a lot going, but one thing that I will wait before I ever buy back into this stock is I want to see actual production and deliveries and how the Optimus is going to perform. I'm going to say this now. I think Optimus Gen 1 is not going to perform how we're expecting. I think the outperformance is going to come from Cybercap.
All right, man. We shall find out.
Yes, sir.
Very interesting development over the weekend. Elon Musk, true to what he said he was going to do, he's actually making X and S, the design, open source like he did with Roadster. So going to be super cool. I want to see if there's going to be people that are able to replicate the design kind of like in their own garage, some hobbyists. That would be kind of cool to see. Obviously, it might be a little bit tougher with the moldings and stuff like that. But yeah, he's going to make all those designs now that they're kind of defunct. Open source should be interesting to see if anybody comes up with their own designs there. I did actually see back in the day a custom garage that was taking Model S's, the sedan, and converting them into a two-door convertible. Who's seen this before? I'm going to try to find a picture now. So I thought that was awfully cool, and especially if you have the actual designs and you don't have to freestyle, you can make it even more customizable. So should be an interesting there. Shout out to Buvin, who's looking at PLAG. He's yelling about, boom, Buvin, what is this, bro? It popped up to 98, but then it dropped back down, Buvin. PLAG, let's put it on the side chart. Up there, 98, 94 is the high of the day on that monster. Good look, but it just dropped by like 12 pennies. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out on it. PLAG, it's on the Amex. It's about 31, 28% in Greensville right now. So KIDZ continues to put in lower lows. Sorry, same low, but putting in lower highs. I don't like this look. I just got to tell you, I don't like it at all. We're not breaking trend. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop at a KIDZ here, man, which is probably not, the greatest idea because we didn't lose 65, but it does feel like it's going to lose 65 momentarily. If it does, I'm looking at 60. And the reason I'm looking at 60 is that's where VWAP is. So I'm at a KIDZ there, but we're still holding the short position quite successfully here on LVWR. It is still defending that $0.50 area. We haven't gotten anything at 40. I've been putting, liquidity testers there, and the low, from what I see, the low of this area is 245. So now we know for a fact that there is a big buyer of note at $2.45. So I'm not going to touch this one or add to it until it either pops up into about 75 or it breaks down through 40. Shout out to Nick Dubb. Sharif, I believe a lot of software is oversold. Path is very undervalued, and I'm debating buying along in TTD into earnings. Thoughts? Well, there is that whole adage that you don't really want to hold something new into earnings, but your methodology could be a little bit different. Let's look at Trade Desk on the daily. So, clearly it's seen better days, right? This is a very, very bad chart. And, we were just into area highs here at about $141. This is post-election, post-24 election when President Trump was elected. So from there to the current price action, we're down about 87%. Yeah, so that is, real destruction. Let's flip to the weekly to see if there are any areas of support we need to concern ourselves with. And sadly, we haven't been at these levels on Trade Desk since, you guessed it, the March 2020 area low, COVID. So let's remove this candle here because it's distorting the price action. There you go. So you're able to see we are at March 2020 lows on the desk, the Trade Desk. And we're not talking about our trade desks over here. They're immune. But that. Look at this, Joey. Look at this, $140. post President Trump election, trading at 1763 area low today. That's a tough one. So look, Nick, the technicals are not yelling sell. They're not. We don't have an uptrend yet, Nick, but hey, man, you see value in that? Have at it. Have at it. It's just not for me, brother. But thank you for pointing that out. What else do we have over here, man? There was someone calling things out. Yeah, I didn't see it. I thought I saw something. In any event, Joey, still holding the short. What are you looking at?
Yeah,
man?
same thing, man. I'm waiting to see if this trade is going to work out for us here. Now, considering I was using my Frex gateway, don't forget, guys, it's actually relatively expensive, especially the more you buy and the more you use it. It can become costly. Instead of me posting up at the lower end of the range, now we're just waiting to see if there's going to be an additional leg lower here. We're not going to give this too many attempts. Now, I was bringing up the example of what I believe could be going on here with Apple. So what you have is the share buyback program, right? So they're removing inventory off of the market. And what I believe is happening here in Tesla is complete offloading, right? So a lot of people are just being, hey man, we're not seeing what we like, and we haven't been for quite some time. And then it's just unfortunate that you take this hefty dive down once again. Now, we are talking about a $300 level potentially holding here. I think that's going to most definitely be in the works relatively soon. Can find some rebound. And one thing that I was just thinking, actually, as I was walking back is, let's not forget, let's pull up the cues here. Was it 2022? Yeah, that's when I first started. 2022 is 25. It was more of a grinding bear market, right? Like it took a while for things to really break down, and then eventually it found a base. So yeah, right at the start of 22, all the way to the downside, bravely messaging me, yeah, we're gonna have to the tune where you drop 33%. So I mean, aside from the tariff tantrum where things happen relatively quick in the span of a month or two or so, so February all the way down to April, so 3 months. It may take a little bit longer to get the prices than what we're expecting. So just be cautious and don't rush. Don't go full size right out of the gate and just slowly build on the way down. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for you. But yeah, Bravely, we're going to get to some of your questions momentarily.
Get it, Bravely.
What we do, yeah, there it is. Sharif, we're right back towards the high end of this resistance zone. I want to see how we react here. Now, we want the momentum to pick up, and we don't want the rejection to be too aggressive. If it is, that will tell me that sellers, aside from what we're seeing from the primary trend, are in complete control of even this secondary trend. There we go. That's the breakthrough. That's the breakdown that we're looking for, my brother.
Get it, Joey.
So yeah, so let's see, man. We're going to continuously hold on to this, see if we can. There it is.
Oh
my.
Lanta.
Days. This is a days event over here. Sharif. We
Look
take
at
a little
that
bit off
out,
there,
bro.
25% off of that one. So yeah, not too bad of a
Okay,
look
Joey.
there, man. 28.60 off of those lows here in NVDL. Man, oh man. Some days I could tell you it's like, it feels like, yeah, all right, we're rocking and rolling. And then the other day, like Friday, I'm like, what is even happening here? But yeah, NVDL and NVDA is still down almost they are down 4.5%. This is going to be down double. That's why you do not own these leveraged products, because you will lose your money. It's inevitable. I tell that to everyone in the chat. If we take an additional leg higher, then we're going to take some more off.
All right, man. We're still watching LVWR here. Continue to put in lower highs, but there continues to be a buyer at 245. I think we've been below it. Let me double check that statement. No. All the candles since the 1140 candle has defended 245. So there is certainly a buyer of note here that continues to defend 245. Does that mean that this trade is the wrong one? I don't think so. I think that the trend is still intact of lower lows and lower highs. Moreover, you're below VWAP. And I will view this as an opportunity to add more in if I like what I see. The area specifically I'm targeting is the high 260s, low 270s, because that we were looking at 275 where VWAP is, right? And then we have that 1140 candle, which has a 274 high. I would say to you, that's the local area high, right? So why does that matter, 274, 275? Because if you're going to put a resting order to get more short, then you've got to put it at a strategic level where you know it's going to fill, right? Because you know that there was a 274 seller last time because that's the area high. So if you put it at 275, it may not fill. So you kind of take the good with the bad here and you put it a little bit lower, get a worse cost base possibly, but you secure the fill. And I'm quite happy with my exit here on KIDZ. As I mentioned, I felt this one was going to lose 65. It certainly did. Now with an area low of around 63 and change, I'm thinking 60 here. But I'm not going to have a dip trade. We're going to wait to see if it does come into 60 and then turn back around. We could have a discussion for a long here on KIDZ. There's some others to go through, ENTX, but we're going to pause for a second. We're going to send it up to Sia with Happening Now, and then Neil is going to have his lesson of the day.
Let's take a look at the 3 major averages before we jump right into what's happening now, right now. SPY currently down 0.21%. You have the triple Qs down very close to 1% on the day. The Dow is currently up 0.14% and followed by a bonus IWM that's up 0.14% on the day. Let's take a look at SpaceX to start with. SpaceX, SPCX, currently down over 3% on the day. Shares are now off 50% from their all-time highs today, currently trading around the 111 mark. There were around 109 earlier in the day, which is more than 50% below its high of $225.64 that it had hit shortly after its IPO on June 12th. SpaceX is now traded below its IPO price of $135 for the last 8 sessions. Stock now pacing for its 10th negative session. We're also going to take a look at Tesla. Yes, Elon dominated Happening Now today, but that's okay. Tesla is currently down 1.3%. You have Deutsche Bank that had cut its price target on Tesla after its earnings. Tesla's lack of progress on its Robotaxi and humanoid robot products is what is dampening its outlook for the company's shares. Is coming from a statement according to Deutsche Bank. The bank has also reiterated its buy rating on the stock in today's note as well, but it has also cut the price target for the same to $420 from $465. This represents a 34% gain from Friday's close. So Tesla shares are currently down 1.3%. Like I said, SpaceX down over 3%. Market kind of in the red right now. But we're going to pause before sending it back to the guys and send it to Neil for his lesson of the day.
Thank you there, Sia. Look, the lesson of the day brought to you by this delicious pizza, which I haven't had yet, but what? No, I'll have at the end. I'll give you a bit of a taste. So it looks pretty delicious. It's probably better than the meatloaf that we got, which I didn't exactly think the meatloaf was going to be a gigantic hit, but it is what it is, and there were some good vegetables to go with it. No, today I want to talk about like a pattern recognition thing, and you see Sharif on like that live wire, and it reminded me of something that I got back to, which I'll end with, which was sort of obvious, but thankfully there were enough, let's just say, examples of this pattern to be able to then go hunt for it. And all it really is look for something. You know, I have a quote that's like, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place it can go, right? So if something holds on to the bottom, obviously it's going to go, it can't do worse than give you some kind of a bounce for long. But it works the same way if something makes a fresh high early in the pre-market. And this is especially true of those small cappers. Now, we all were excited about Edible because of what it was doing in the pre-market, looking super strong. But it is worth noting that when you got to the open, it did one of the most, it's about as violent of a reversal as you can get. All that said, if the first thing it does is fail to make a fresh high off of the open, put in a lower one, and then break support, you can have that trend down. But what's really going on here? It's the false break or that failure at the high on exuberance that just sets up a reversal trend. And it's one of the reasons that you'll see Luis talk about that setup all the time, where there's your false break at the open, it makes a top, then you get a lower high, and all of a sudden you're trending back, even if you're still up. This is live wire after the open market. Now, the one thing that I always say that I love is the setup where it gives you the false break of the high, but it's just at a prior resistance level. I'm not saying it's free money, but if you can find a situation where a stock is not only failing at the open, like doing a false break of the high, putting an obvious lower high in, but it's also doing so at resistance, that's every good as buying a dip on a strong stock. And I was reminded of this when it's like, what am I even thinking about? Last week, I think every single day at the end of last week, like Lucid just ended up being my best short. Every day. You know, it was cascade down on Wednesday, it was pop and fade on Thursday, and it was pop and fade again, failed the prior high on Friday. And then what does it do this morning? Well, I'm paying attention to other things, and there's some other good stuff out there to be traded. But Lucid goes right in, fails the high break, and then puts in a lower high, and then from then on, it just turned into a short. It's the pattern. Like, just look at what it did on Friday and look at what it did today. Fails the same high break, puts in a lower high, and then just starts dying on VWAP once, twice, thrice. Puts in a high, fails above 650, puts in a lower high, and then just VWAP, VWAP, VWAP. Now imagine if you're paying close attention to only that pattern. That's all you need in the day. Now imagine you're a small cap trader that is simply looking for that one reversal pattern where it fails the high, puts in a lower high, maybe it loses VWAP, or you're just playing off that lower high. That's all you need. You only really ever need just one good pattern, one good trade that you're looking for. And you know what? If you're, say, a short-only small cap trader on gappers, there is nothing wrong with that. As long as you recognize that there might be some days that nothing sets up for you, or nothing sets up till 11 o'clock, or maybe you have 2 or 3 really good setups and you've got to take them all. You really just have to look at what is the pattern that I'm trying to observe here. If it does it, great. If you want to trade it in both directions, if it's making higher highs and higher lows, fantastic, do that too. Like, I would give you the example of kids. Like, kids would be the example of the trade where, hey, it does exactly the same thing that the shorters would be looking for. By the time it gets to the open, this is 9:30. Like, it's already doing the move to the downside, right? So if you're someone that's waiting for a long, and maybe you had to wait until 11 o'clock, or maybe you took your shot multiple times, 1, 2, you had 3 shorts in this, and the last one lost. That's another thing that you've got to be able to understand. Like, I wanted to show an example where this didn't work, but if you are trading that strategy, then maybe you like pre-market, you're short here. Maybe you like the open, you're short there. But you're probably short here too. And ultimately, that's probably a losing trade. And I think one thing that when you're pattern trading or you have a specific style or strategy is the idea is you're supposed to take every positive expectancy. That's the reason why I was mad at myself over the Lucid. Because if you're looking for a pattern and you get it, you're supposed to hit it every single time. So you got to have it here and ideally there, and then you got to have it here, and then again there. And if it works 4 times out of 6, great. If it works 3 times out of 6, great. If it works 2 times out of 6, as long as it works overall, you're supposed to take the shots when the pattern sets up. And that's one of the reasons why I know Sharif is gravitating towards even to looking at some of those shorts. Because realistically, if you observe something that is true in the market and has a positive expectancy for you, one thing that I am sure about is it is going to adjust. It is not going to get easy over time as more people look at it. So you've got to take advantage of it while it's working. If a pattern is there, if it's there for 3 or 4 days, you better hit it for those 3 or 4 days because it might slow down. And that's very, very important. So I'm mad at myself because Lucid was, again, like free money and really should have had it. And that's why you should know what your core strategies are. Just what is the setup I'm looking for? What's the number one thing that I want to see happen before I execute a trade? And then, regardless of whether you're up or down, did you see it? Did you do it? I can't tell you how many times I've had, oh, this was a good day trading today. I'm up, the P&L is looking great. But it's like, oh my goodness, I missed an A+ setup. I'll grade myself an F if I ever miss an A+ setup. I don't care what your day is. If you see a pattern that's really good and you don't take the trade that you know is there for you, then you've made a bit of a mistake. And that's the part of the analysis, or the part of grading yourself, or the part of journaling that I think a lot of people miss. Is it's not just about whether, oh, I had a good day, I had a bad day with the trades that you made. Did you take advantage of your best available setups? Did you trade the lowest hanging fruit in terms of what it is that you're looking for? So that's what you should judge yourself by. And I want to give a big shout out. I'm going to I'll have the pepperoni slice first. So, as per usual, it was delicious. As per usual, I want to give a big shout out to all of our viewers for sure, but man, you can't keep sending us pizza like this because it's too delicious. Thank you guys so much. Your lesson of the day, look for pattern recognition. And if the pattern is we put on a good show and we get some pizza at lunch, then I'm fixing to pack on a few pounds at this rate. So thank you very much, guys. Send you guys back to the midday. This is delicious. Enjoy.
Do you have some pizza?
Joseph, hold on. We got to tell Randy something here.
Yeah, pizza.
Randy, VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales. Did you know that? Okay. This week, VinFast India, Randy, they partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access. And then Green SM, they launched an all-electric ride-hailing service in Kazakhstan. And they're using VinFast VF6 vehicles. Together, these moves are highlighting VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem strategy. Randy, if you're interested, you can find them trading on the NASDAQ under ticker VFS. There's my man.
Bro, yeah, I think he
There's
took
my
you
man.
serious there, man. I think he was like,
Yeah, I think
no,
anytime
I think
we're
you're having
speaking
the
cars,
yeah, that's the best.
he's hyper-focused.
Hyper-focused.
Shout out to my
Randy was
man,
looking
Randy.
for the pizza, but here we go.
What do you got,
I
Joey?
can't see now that that 50 cents I get money is Sean's, so we can't steal that one there. You have to come up with your own.
love that.
I think there.
I'm kind of jealous.
This
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we hey man, there's even more fire tracks.
Get
I
it,
think we're
Joey.
ready to rock and roll with this. No, but in all seriousness, a nice little grab off the lows, guys. I mean, we've took a couple attempts. What's the NASDAQ up to? It did find a base and now starting to recover. But this bounce off the low, we could have got a little bit better of a price, but that's not necessarily the case that we're sitting in right now. What's up, Denise? So we're fortunate enough to get this move all the way up here, and now I'm sitting on about 10% of my position. Now, the optimal goal would be to head in towards the volume-weighted average price. That might be a little bit of a stretch here considering this buy program that we have going on, but yeah, small scalp to the short side in NVDA, and then we're fortunate enough to catch the lows. You just had to be patient enough. I mean, what time is it? 11:42. About 2 hours and 10 minutes after the open, and I mean, you can get chopped up in between, just like we did for a bit on the Nasdaq. I was telling Sharif, it's been a roller coaster of a Monday, and I'm all right with that. Highest point of the day, and then we end up giving the majority of it back to the brink of like, what's going on here? But we are fortunate enough to catch this move, reloaded it up here, and then that just put us right back into a solid position to hammer that NVDA trade, and we're thankful for that.
Well said, Joey. Well said. There we go. We're back into KIDZ here. We're looking for a move back up into about 70. We're below the 10 EMA though, Bovin. So this sometimes acts as a local area of resistance, and you can see the seller at 64, ironically enough, right where the 10 EMA is. Now, I was trying to get 60s here. I was very alive to it. I fumbled on the keys for some reason, and then it kind of went without me. So we're in at a less than advantageous price, but I'm looking for a big move up, and if it loses 60, then I'm out. It's really that simple, okay? Now, I want to bring a couple of other names to your attention here that I've said, that I did mention at the top, but I've said very little about subsequent. ENTX. My days is this one handling 390 in a very, very kind of bearish way. I mean, look at this. You didn't have any closing prints with the exception of one above 390. That's a 1045 candle. That is the only candle on the 5-minute chart to close above 390. So we were making the point earlier that it was a flat top break brewing through 4. Okay, possibly that was correct at the time. Now, you got to be really alive to the fact that we're unable to make it into 4. And that is because short sellers are getting a bit more aggressive. So we have to be alive to that so that we're not, trying to take the breakout here at incorrect levels. So I continue to like this area defend, especially at VWAP 3 1/3, 3 1/2, in between there. But I'm also very much displeased with the 390 seller that keeps showing up here. BIYA, kind of a similar look, but not exactly. It's got higher lows, but by the same token, it's got lower highs. It's above VWAP rather than below. And, it's got a lot of resistance at 4. It hasn't been above 4 since about 10:55. So over an hour and 15 minutes ago. So I'd like a move above 4. Otherwise, I don't get involved with BIYA. But yeah, that's what I'm watching now. We're involved again in KIDZ, and we're still holding the short here. on whatchamacallit, LVWR. And the deal is, LVWR, we did pretty good because that 45 seller ended up getting clipped to the tune of 238. So that we do have the low of the day on that. Not the low of the day, sorry, the local area low. The low of the day technically is 155. But that was done very early on the breakout. So LVWR is still in focus for me. Last but not least here, I want to mention CORD. CORD. Multi-day play. We had this one on Friday, as you can kind of, as you can kind of see there. I had a nice breakout there, bull flag, found support at around 12 o'clock, then it started putting in an upward channel. It didn't end up turning into a second bull flag, which some of them do. Today we have yet another bull flag. I would say probably bull pennant because of the compression that's happening here, lower highs but higher lows. $9 here to 905 seems like the kind of the midpoint of the range. So be alive to that. But I could be interested here on CORD in the same way that I could be interested in a long on BIYA, in the same way that I can be interested on a long on ENTX, but it's got to set up the right way. Yeah, so that's all I've got for now. Bovin, Bovin had a couple of other ones there. DFNS halted. Thank you, Bovin, for that. Let's bring in, what are we going to do here, Joey? Who are we going to take off? We're going to take off Asan. DFNS. Thanks, guys. And Golf Fishing says as well, oh my days, what is this? DFNS halted to the upside, $8.21. Rip through that $7 VWAP area. Oh my God. And now we're halted at 821. Funny enough, thing is though, we're not even at the day high. Now we're at the official day high of 821 because that's subsequent to 930. But you take a look at the price action from 4 a.m. We got up to 865 on that 4 a.m. candle. Then 405, we got to 828. So we still might have some bag holders and some upward resistance because I got to tell you that 4 a.m. candle was pretty liquid. About almost 300,000 shares traded hands there. And then the 405 candle, about 142,000. So you got some good volume there, guys. So be on the lookout. I'm definitely interested in this once it does resume. So let's load it up on the, we're going to take ENTX here. No, we're going to leave ENTX alone. Let's focus on DFNS. DFNS, let's load this up. So here we are. This is a NASDAQ name. That's good. So we can see exactly what the tap is while we're halted. And the tap right now, Mr. Options Man, showing 824. Halt price, 821. Halt time, 12:14:48. Current time, 12:17:09. Okay? So we've got another, I want to say, so the earliest time we will open is 12:19:48. Got about another 2.5 minutes on this bad boy before it opens up. So definitely interested on this. For show, bro, 43 says FIEE. Say less. Yeah, so someone did point this out to me. So it's up big, right? Like it's up 172%, right? It's halted again at 764, but the volume is absolute crap. 814,000 is where we're trading on this one. Let's put it up on the side chart. FIEE. Let's see exactly. So we're still halted. Yeah, I got it. But just give me a sec to analyze this. I will go, I promise. FIEE. Let's throw this one up and see what kind of technicals we have on this monster here. So we do have a couple of halts, right? You had a longer halt around 6.5. Kind of an undiscernible trend. You have lower highs, but you have higher lows. VWAP here, not really acting as any area of support and resistance. It's just cutting through the middle of the price action. So I'd be very alert to that and not use it as any area of support. You do have higher lows, as I mentioned, so 650 area support, and then here on the last red candle, $7 area support. FIE, not my favorite, but it's up big on the day, so I will keep it up on here should it break out. Let's pause for a second, talk some more small caps. We'll see ya in the small cap recap.
The IWM is currently up 0.27% right now. Let's take a look at 3 individual tickers. GSHD. You have Goosehead Insurance that's up over 6% on the day. As late of Friday, it received an analyst note of maintained as sector performed by RBC Capital. You have LVWR, that is Livewire, up 71% over on the day. Q2 revenue has risen 55%, and the company has seen a growth in unit sales. This was reported before the weekend, late Friday. You have ZVRA as well. Zevra Therapeutics just maintained at buy by Canaccord Genuity. The ticker is up almost 1.5% on the day.
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. So here it is, 6201. It gets a pop up here, all the way back up into 63, a little bit north of that, and then it's starting to come right back in. Now, I mentioned the fact that we have to be cautious in cases this is just a breath within some of these names, right? So you have this pullback, you have the relief rally, but now you're headed right back towards the low of the day in a lot of these names. What did I just do? Anyways, we'll figure that out here momentarily. But aside from that, oh man, what a disaster. But here, so what I'm going to do is I'll head over to what we have here on NVDA. And I don't believe I'm going to look for the reload on this. Could I be absolutely wrong? And with that being said, the fact that I don't want to could be a good opportunity for us to do exactly that. I have to put this back here. There we go. So what I'm looking at here, guys, is we can see the weakness within the NASDAQ. So let's head over to our memory storage names and see what's going on. Now, this isn't anything different that we haven't seen over the past couple of weeks. Look how much stronger these down days are compared to what we're seeing in the up days. So what I'm getting at here pretty much is the fact that how do we have the ability to identify bull traps? Well, the volume can tell you a lot, but also the strength within the recovery days. Now, it can get you here, absolutely. But hindsight being 2020, as you look back, this trend has been fully intact and hasn't been breached. So what I'm going to be looking for is where are we going to bottom out? I think this would be overkill, but the market has no issue with overkill, whether it be to the long side or to the top side. That would be a 68% pullback. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the narrative. But what I want us to see here in some of these names and within this specific space is basing started to form. And then eventually it'll start to curl over because they weigh so much significantly more from a market cap standpoint now collectively than what they did. They have a larger influence within the NASDAQ itself. All right. So when you have SK Hynix down 9.9%, DRAM, STX, Seagate here, Western Digital, SanDisk, Micron, all down single digits or double digits, mid-single or double digits. It's going to weigh a lot here on the NASDAQ, and that's exactly what we're seeing. It doesn't help that NVDA is down 5% either, and I mentioned, I believe this is just the start of the pullback that we're going to get here in AMD, sorry. We're down 17%. I'm going to be looking for a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if we do fall into that 25 to 30% range, just considering this shelf that we're forming is kind of prolonging the pullback. So you have a bunch of individuals who are looking to either swing trade them or day trade it, getting trapped within this range, thinking that you're going to make that additional leg higher. Now, can we? Absolutely. I just don't think that's the narrative right now. You want more of a healthy price action because you fall into the exact same narrative in which I was referring to before. It's down 47% in SanDisk. If you have more of an ebb and flow within the underlying asset, it gives you back. So it's like, okay, you climb 5%, you come back 3, you climb another, you come back 2.5, instead of just going parabolic to the tune of multiple hundreds %. And then now you're just stuck looking like, what's going on? You were so strong a couple of weeks ago, and now you can't even find any form of a recovery. I like to see more of a clean ebb and flow within some of my price action. We didn't get that in the memory names. It was parabolic, and then now some people are unfortunately starting to pay that price.
All right, DFNS. Wow, what a show that was. Breakout. We got all the way into the high of the day, 940. We had like 890, 887 at the best, but it failed, so I had to stop out for the last remaining amount. What a move down. 940 high. Funny enough, it's still holding trend. So prior bar low, which is the candle that opened. God, this thing again, man. DFNS. So prior bar low on DFNS is 841. Okay. So let's see if it holds prior bar low. I'm going to go long here. Let's go 837, 820. Okay. So what do we got? We got 69, Joey. Okay, that's good. That's a very good sign. So we're putting some in the 80s. Let's go ahead and put some in the 90s. Seller here at 85, guys. Watch out for the flush. Seller at 85. Let's put a liquidity tester just below 9, then a little bit higher than 9. Let's see what we get on this one. Oh, God, I put 13. That's not good. So continuing to watch. I don't want a loss of prior bar low, and I'm seeing a seller in the mid-80s preventing us from ascending here. So that's the situation. We lose prior bar low. I stop out. There it goes, ramping back into 890s. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher here. Looking for 9. What a fail. Back down. Buyer at 70. It's going to lose trend here. Right into the 60s we go. Low 60s, no, low 60s. So it doesn't look like it will hold trend. Oh, right back into the 70s we go. So, wow, this is a lot of resistance in the high 80s. I figured, we were going to at least get to 10 here, given, the price action into 940. But not in a straight line anyway. We still got 69s on, showing some seller here at 80s. Okay, well, what the beak there? How many shares we have left on this? We're still good. So yeah, I want to see a move back above 9. It doesn't look like it's readily apparent whether that's going to happen or not. So yeah, we're just going to stick with the same plan. Let's see if we stop out. There it goes, right back into 9, taking out all my orders. Nice. All right, looking for more, Mr. Options Man. Let's put 25s on. And then we're going to put
something stepping in.
Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, something stepping into the market
Stepping
here.
in.
Big time spike there, guys. The volume following it as well. We'll get to that. We'll get that to you momentarily. I have to pull up our chart here.
Pull up.
Yeah, so 1 minute time frame. You get into the nitty gritty and the detail. There is clearly a catalyst stepping in here as we find some form of a recovery. We've seen that reflected here in NVDA and in the NASDAQ. So we're only moments away until we're going to send it probably over to the desk to see exactly what that is. Now, what could be some other names that have been affected by this? Let's pull up AMD and see if the volume is reflecting there. Yeah, bang. We'll head over to the SPY. This isn't a volume spike out of nowhere. Unless someone just got absolutely rinsed and they're like, okay, you're gone. But you can see it's across the board on a bunch of different names. We'll head over to Micron. You see the memory storage.
Is it pumping or going down?
We're going up. Volume's going up. Yeah, we're going up. SNDK probably going to be the same thing. You can see the volume start to kick in here, guys. So yeah.
All right, Trump.
Moments away. Do you have something?
Yeah. Should we send it to the desk?
I didn't get anything in my ear about that.
Yeah, let's send it to the desk.
Okay, I'm seeing comments from President Trump. Quote, from President Trump, quote, Iran wants to meet and we're meeting. There's a chance we can make a deal with Iran. So again, President Trump saying once again that Iran wants a meeting and there's a chance that they could make a deal here. Apparently, Iran has used surrogates to request a deal. Now, what's interesting here is Iran actually said earlier today that they were not interested in negotiating. They haven't been negotiating, and there is no path towards that 10-day pause of hostilities that was being reported between the countries. If I get anything else, I'll let you know. Back to you.
Love the visceral reaction in the chat when President Trump says anything. You guys always make me chuckle. It's so entertaining. What else?
He was here to save the day, man.
Oh, I'm not commenting on it one way or another. I'm just commenting on our audience's reaction.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like market getting destroyed. Truth. Good timing.
Ooh.
And then bang, just like that.
Get it.
We're right back. I mean, we're not fully recovered, but it moved right into towards the volume weighted average price. Just be cautious of these pumps, guys. If we're really weak, then you'll see the opposite side of the participants step in and push price right back down again. So keep your eyes on it. I was thinking about a reload, but I'm like, you know what? There's no point in me really doing that, to be honest with you. So we'll just allow this to rock and roll. If we do head back into VWAP, then we'll be sitting in a good position. Let's send it back to the desk.
So President Trump is gaggling with the press, I guess, in Air Force One, and that's where these comments are coming from because they were not on Truth Social. Currently listening to other comments that he's making. I just want to let you guys know here as well, he's going to be speaking a couple times this afternoon. And it's going to be really at the tail end of the midday and then into the afternoon show. 1:55 p.m., he'll be on camera viewing a drag race and vehicle demonstration. Then he'll be participating in a tour and gift ceremony starting at 2:10 p.m. At 2:50 p.m., he'll be delivering remarks. I believe they're supposed to be on the economy. If they get more details, I'll let you know. Here are some more comments that he's been making to the press. He said that, again, Iran wants to meet and they are meeting. He also says that the U.S. has a lot of ammunition, but he'd like to have even more. Back to you.
There you go. A lot of Patriots missiles being built, he says. Yeah, I guess that's part of the ammunition. I'd like to have more ammunition, to be honest, he said. Haven't talked to Saudi Arabia about the Accords, which is interesting there because he was trying to tie the nuclear deal to the Abraham Accords the other week there, which is interesting. It is, I think, sort of a strategic opportunity for the Middle East to take advantage of American sort of interest in letting them have or helping support a nuclear, clean nuclear technology. Because you look at some of the water situation in the Middle East, it's kind of tenuous, man. Desalination probably is going to be the way that they go I think, into the next part or the second half of this century.
You think so?
Yeah. And so nuclear energy is super good for that, obviously, because desalination, very energy heavy. So I'd like to see exactly how that all works out. Egypt being talked about there, but Saudi Arabia, first and foremost, they're going to be probably going through them. They got the big pockets, you know,
we just
juice up the American companies a little bit.
Start pumping, just start taking all the ocean water.
That's what they do, bro. Desalination. They're already doing that in UAE. Problem is, though, desalinized water, less in minerals. Yeah.
Wait.
So sometimes they have to inject minerals naturally into the desalinized water. Yeah, and then that becomes an issue as well, right? So nuclear is just an advanced steam engine for now. You're absolutely right, James L. That's exactly what it does, baby. But that's all they need, man. That's all they need. Shout out to Candu. You know about that one, Joey? That's the Canadian design. We're trying to export that, make some money.
Oh yeah.
The Candu nuclear reactor as well. Yeah, there's a new version of that as well.
All right,
So that should be interesting there, man. Yeah, pumped about this. Stack, maybe back. Watch VWAP break. Let go. Let's get it, my man. Adam, James Abroad. Been watching Stack. I had it up on my watch list there just as a holdover from Friday. So I was watching it break out there, and I was like, okay, it took $4. It's above VWAP. Good look. But when you look at the multi-day time frame, I think we're still putting some lower highs at them. Definitely keeping an eye on that $5 level, but ultimately I'm going to be looking for that 4:05 a.m. break, which is right above that 6.25, 628 area. But STAK was all sorts of strong. Your friend Adam James Abroad was messaging me after I was off on Friday. He's like, Stack, let's go. I'm like, it's still ripping. Go into the chart. It's moving up big. So very pleased, my man was able to print multiple storms on that. Shout out to Adam James Abroad. Let's pause for a second, send it up to the big desk.
Thank you. Let's take a look at the market right now. You have the SPY currently down a very little percent, but it is still towards the red in the day. Let's take a look at the sectors, what's going on right now. Electric tech, you have Apple up 1.3%, Nvidia sliding further down 4% here. So Nvidia and a couple other tech giants, you have SPCX and Microsoft, have as of today launched a new artificial intelligence safety initiative that is focused on open models due to the fallout of a cyber attack committed by rogue OpenAI models that we saw last week. So Nvidia down 4.2%. You have Microsoft up 2.3%. Let's also just take a look at a couple more names before we move on. Electric tech, you have AMD down over 6.5%. MU is down 4%. AVGO, Cisco, TXN flat at the moment. You have RTX up 3.2%, whereas Dell continuing to slide 2.5%. INTC down 1.1%. 1.7%. You have GE up here 2.2%. Tech services, you have Google, Meta, and Microsoft, Oracle, Palantir, Netflix showing strength in this sector over here, followed by IBM as well. But you have PNW currently trading flat at the moment. I just also want to mention CRM, that's up over almost 6.5% on the day. Finance, you have BRKB, MS, JPM, BAC, we are all down, well, technically flat on the day. Visa and MasterCard are up. Visa is up close to 2%, whereas MasterCard is up over 2%. WFC up 1%. You have here AXP up 2.5% as well. And Robinhood currently almost flattish on the day. It's, however, tilting towards the green, up 0.62%. GS down 1%. Retail trade, you have Amazon flat, but you have Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, and TJX showing strength over here. They're up in the green, followed by CVNA, that's up 5.3% on the day, and CPRT up close to 6% on the day. Health tech seeing a bit of a mixed sentiment, but there is a lot of green in the sector. I will not lie about that. Lilly trading flat at the moment. J&J is up over 1%. ABBV flat. MRK flat. ABT up 2% on the day. But producer manufacturing lagging here a little bit. AMAT is down over 5% on the day, with LRCX also sliding close to 6% on the day. CAT is down 3.5%, over 3.5%, continuing its journey to be down 4% on the day. GEV down 4%. Another name I just want to check in this sector is, LITE also down 6%, 6.5%. Triple M is up 2.5%. Energy minerals, you have a bit of a drag down in the oil sector today. We know USO was also down 7.5%. That's not a bad look over here, but XOM, CVX continuing to slide. XOM down over 1.5% and CVX as well. Consumer non-durables, KOP, GP, MPEP, all doing good. Not a bad look here. All up above 1%. PG technically trading flat, but tilting towards the green here. Consumer services as well. You have McDonald's up 2%, Disney up 2% as well. BKNG up over 4.5% and RCL flat on the day. WBD 0.97 to the downside. Health services and communication with non-energy industrial sectors and process industries is a bit of a mixed bag. You're seeing a lot of red, a lot of green, and a lot of gray as well. So flattishness as well over here with utilities as well. And finally, just wanted to take a look at commercial services. I would say the sector is looking pretty good overall. SPGI up over almost 3%. MCO up 3.5% on the day. FICO up also over 4.5%, with FDS leading over 6% up on the day. Let's pause and go to Adara.
I have some headlines to give to you guys. A lot of them are coming from President Trump, who is still, gaggling here with the press aboard Air Force One, I believe is where they currently are here. So he's talking about the Fed. He was asked here about the Fed meeting that is going to be occurring here on Wednesday with that announcement. He said that the costs are going down rapidly. He says Kevin Warsh is, quote, great, but he has a board. So implying that the Federal Reserve Board might not be on the same page as Kevin Warsh. Either way, he believes Fed Chair Warsh will, quote, do the right thing. I know what he wants. He also said that he's recently read strong inflation reports. He believes that prices will fall once the war ends and the Fed should cut rates. So a wild array of comments here on the Fed from President Trump. A couple other headlines here. Nvidia in focus. This is a headline that I've heard circulate a couple times here in the morning and a little bit after the bell as well, but I'm seeing it again now. Apparently, Nvidia going to be investing $5 billion in Elias Suitskever's new AI startup. Elias Suitskever, of course, formerly of OpenAI. And then last but not least, keep an eye on some of these names in the cybersecurity space, including CrowdStrike. New York Times reporting that Microsoft is unveiling new AI cybersecurity tools. MSFT, let's see if it's reacting to this. Not really. A little bit of a bounce here, I guess, off that 389.4 area. Slightly stronger over the last couple minutes, but either way, keep an eye on some cybersecurity names. Back to you.
Stuff. Thank you very much. All right, guys, so here it is. We're at the point, again, we're only sitting about 5%, 2.5 to 5% of our complete position here now. It failed to put in a new high, and I mentioned it not too long ago. Watch out. You have the volume step into the market, the LLs turn on, but then immediately after, there's no follow through whatsoever. It just pushes price back before that breakout even happened and before the volume even really kicked in. So just be cautious. This could be a potential liquidity grab in order for us to head a little bit lower. You trap a bunch of individuals in higher price points, and then you move price to the southeast, all right? So we're still sitting on a little bit here. I have my eyes on a couple other things. iGrow Fighting, talking about TSLA. Listen, brother, I believe I am an Elon bull. There's, without any question, right? Again, I believe in what he has going on is going to be absolutely detrimental to a lot of auto manufacturers. But TSLA is a vehicle that is not something that you want to hold on for the long term. So just to get back to $10, you need a 41% return. All right. So, I mean, it's really, really tough to hold on to these vehicles, because eventually it will reverse split just to stay within the market, right? Especially if you do see an additional 10, 15% more downside in Tesla, then this is just going to be worth a couple of dollars, and it'll be near impossible until it reverse splits for you to get back. So just be cautious when holding these vehicles. Personally, myself, Sharif, Sean, Neil, we use them as intraday vehicles, all right? So other than that, nice moves here on the NASDAQ. We got those scalps. It is continuing to move a little bit higher here, ladies and gentlemen, so that's not too bad. 63.40 is going to be a key pivot for us to break and then to continue to the northeast. A couple good scalps. This was the ad that pretty much saved our day. Okay, so here it is, bang, off to the races it goes. We get all out, and then now we're just sitting in this NVDA trade waiting for the volume weighted average price. I can add a little bit more and just free roll my position, but again, I just don't have that much outstanding right now.
Yep, more comments from President Trump at the moment with respect to China. We'll wait on those. I'm watching, guys, here, KIDZ. It's going to lose trend here. It's below VWAP. I think KIDZ could be a short below 55. But I see the boys getting pumped in the chat, and I know why. Stack is back, and it's halted to the upside. 511 halt. Good look, boys. Good on you, Adam. Good on you, Bovin. took out that 9 a.m. high, which did reject the volume weighted average price. That was at 478, 474. Now we're halted above 5. The only thing really we're looking at least on the day, is this bad boy here, that 405 candle, which has a 628 high. How about that 4 a.m. candle, 582 high? So we're not quite there. But I do want to bring your attention to the price action on Friday, especially towards the end of the trading day, when this one gapped all the way to 12 and then lost it back into the volume weighted average price into 450. So you got to make sure you're trading this one appropriately and you got the right strategy here, because it does have a tendency to revert. But beautiful look. It's still negative on the day, guys, down about 44.8% despite the fact that it's halted to the upside. The volume is starting to pick up, about 7.15 million shares traded on STAK. So trade this one carefully, but keep your eye out on it. It presents a lot of opportunities. All right, so we're still holding here. My short on LVWR, it's continuing to put in lower highs, so I don't have anything to do other than to watch. But what I want to get into now is ENTX. I'm starting to like ENTX a lot more for a possible $3 break. Now, this one has been fighting with $3 all day, but I have to be willing to give this to $3.40. So what does that mean and why? Well, we got that 390 accumulation. I would say 390 to 4. That's an accumulation flat top break. But we also have support very clearly here at the volume weighted average price. So if I'm going to get in near the highs, I have to be getting in the appropriate amount of shares to allow me to dollar cost average into 340, because that's where the volume weighted average price is. And why am I looking to dollar cost average into there? Well, because it is putting in higher lows. So if my thesis here is an ascending wedge pattern with higher lows and a flat top, then, I've got to make a contingency plan for whether or not I've gotten in at an area high that's still not ready to flat top break. And so that contingency plan has to be basically adding into another higher low area. Like, I don't want to be adding into 333, which is the local area low. I'm thinking 350 to 340, so long as it's a higher low, so it maintains that ascending wedge pattern. So that's what I'm thinking about that. Let's take off something over here. We're going to take off GNI. We're going to put STAK because this one is halted to the upside, and I could be persuaded to get involved with this one because I know the boys are all sorts of pumped. I'm talking about Adam, talking about Bovin, maybe even some others. We did pretty well here. I neglected to mention on DFNS. We took this one all sorts of strong, but then we added and we had to give back some there because it all of a sudden it dropped. So it's got an $8.75 seller as well as a $9 seller. So you're going to contend with some aggressive selling into the 3/4 to the whole dollar here. So be careful with this one, all right? Adam, you want updates on stack? You ask, you get, my man. Let's look at what the tap is. Tap showing 470, Adam. So right now we're slated to open down, all right? The halt price, 511 halt time, 12:38.36 current time, 12:42.10. So the earliest open, 12:43.36. So we got another couple of minutes here before. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Adam says it needs to hold 475. It's just marginally below that right now, Adam, at about 470, but the top, of course, could change at any moment. So keep your eye on that. I'll keep you guys apprised on the top. But DFNS in focus, LVWR, ENTX, there's a lot going here, Joey.
All right, man. Let's head over to our watch list, guys, and see how we've been performing on the day with a lot of these names. I mean, we've been talking about some of the mega cap, but Google up 2.4%. So finding somewhat of a bottom here, a temporary bottom, I believe, but a pretty hefty pullback. But hey, man, if there's any name that who's already reported, I believe if you want to dip by 23% from the peak to this local low, I think this is putting your money where your mouth is and a good opportunity to get involved with here, considering you're back at February, earlier this year levels. A nice strong run with this name, and now we're probably relatively cheap once again, right? This is where we were trading around 23 times, maybe even less than that. 23 times forward earnings, that is. Now I think this could be a good opportunity to add a little bit more, which exactly I am going to do. Moving forward, Broadcom, have we found a bottom yet? Consolidating, you're still down 22% off the highs, guys, but it's SpaceX down another.
Amen.
Good pizza. Yeah, Randy, Adam James, Randy said your pizza's good as well. So SpaceX cut in half here, guys, down 51%. I do believe we're going to see that $100 marker, which I'm going to be grabbing a little bit more. Nothing substantial. Stacked is open, Shreve. I know you got your eyes on this one. 480 here, trading right now. Let's see what we can get rocking and rolling. It looks like it might want to get going, but you have to be patient on it. I'll pull up the price action right now. If it breaks, I believe this structure, then you'll have to be more patient just in case there's a VWAP bounce and continuation. But there it is. You also want to keep your eyes on the tape and wait for that next wave of participants to step in. You don't want too much aggressive selling. I better pull it up. Sharif's not in stacked, I don't believe. STAK. Let's see if this thing can get rocking and rolling here for everyone back home. Strong momentum is what we want to look for. I won't be trading this here. I'm going to be keeping my focus on the names that I'm already involved with. That's going to be the NASDAQ and the TQs. But here it is, guys. Clean flushes, and you want to see that volume following it as well, too. So STAK starting to gain some ground here. There it goes. Can we break through that pivot level of $5? We want to see some more waves step in. There it goes. A nice way. Bang. There it is. A nice move up into 532. I'm not even involved with this. I wasn't going to trade it there, Sharif. But a nice pop up there in this name. But right back down, slamming down 40 cents quicker than you could spell it. So, yeah, man, a tough look here. Let's see if it can hold on to those levels, brother.
All right, man. Here we go. Wow. Bovin, what is happening here? It took out all my orders. I got 875. This could flush. Watch out. We got a lot here on DFNS. Let's get our damn money, man.
Give it, man.
Let's go, bro. Let's go. Bovin, we're going to need you to punch, bro. Let's go. All right, 870. We got the high of this one at 9.25. Built up a decent position. We're still holding, but I don't want to take any more out until I see what the hell this deal is with $9. Because it's zigging and zagging, you know, a little above 9, a little bit below. Here we go again. There it goes back up into the $0.25 Assassino. Boom! Limit freaking up. 966. We got 868. There it goes, Bovin. That is a new high. I don't know why I keep eliciting Bovin. I love it, man. Get it. You know, Bovin, people told me on the weekend that they love when I shout you out. They're like, yo, when you get rowdy and you start calling out Bovin because you're printing. It's hilarious, man. You'd be surprised what people like, man. I had no idea. I thought people found that annoying. But there it is, baby. 966 on the freaking high a day. We're looking for more. I'm still holding here at 66s. Anything below my entry, boom. We out. We're going to keep an eye out on this one. Let's send it up to the big desk.
Keep an eye on Ford, you guys. Ford was already in focus. They got upgraded this morning along with GM, I believe by Jefferies, but they have another catalyst as well now. About 17 minutes ago when we got this spike here all the way up to 1455, Wall Street Journal reported that Ford is joining a bid here for the U.S. Army's next tactical truck contract. This would be the largest military bid from F in multiple decades. Apparently, if this goes through, Ford would be developing 3 prototype vehicles based on their F-Series Super Duty pickups. This would also allow them to join General Motors as the Pentagon seeks to modernize their military vehicles. So keep an eye on Ford. Again, this is just a report for now, but Ford also is going to be on watch this whole week ahead of its earnings report after the bell tomorrow. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adaro. Yeah, look, guys, I always want to take this opportunity to you kind of throw in a little disclaimer here. I trade small caps, right? But that doesn't mean that they're a safe investment vehicle of any sort. They're not even safe intraday, okay? I do it because I've been doing it for a long time, all right? I've only exclusively traded small caps going on, I think, like almost 2.5 years now. Pretty close. Before that, I traded them during COVID, so for about 2 years there as well. And by no means would I endorse anybody to start trading small caps if they're a newer trader. I just wouldn't, okay? That's just my opinion. I'm entitled to it. So the point of what I'm trying to say is I'm super quick with how I get in and get out, and I'm red, you know, about 33% of the time because it is hard to do this. So I really don't want anyone thinking that this is something that they should be holding overnight. This is something that is routine. It really isn't. And you saw what happened there. 966, it dropped to 825 as quick as you like. So I just have to mention that, okay? And so that make of that what you will. Stack is halted down again. I believe the halt level is 433, halt time 1246.03. Tap is showing 423, so about 10 pennies lower than where we started, okay? Or where we halted, pardon me. But I'm very interested now in getting into ENTX. Do I have this on a trading screen? Kids is breaking out again, Bovin. Here comes into 65. Kids might be back in play, KIDZ, okay? But I'm going to flip over here to ENTX because I'd like to take a bit of a calmer trade. Now that I jinx this one, it's not going to be calm. Just watch. 390 area high. 390-ish area high. It's been above, of course, 396 or so. So I want to build a position here for a possible $4 flat top break. I'm going to pack the patience on this one. I'm going to build a position slowly. Okay, we're in here, and we're going to look to get a little bit more here towards the area lows, options man. Okay, we're going to put some there, and we're also going to put some a little bit there as well. So let's see if we can pick some up there and see what's going on. So that's what I'm looking for there on whatchamacallit, ENTX, knowing full well that, you know, this probably doesn't go first time around. So here we go. We're building a position. Nice, nice, nice. So we got a couple of fills there as it comes right back down. So what do we got? We got 82s on this mother you know what now, showing me 82s. So good look. And I'm looking for this to kind of move back up. Byron Hart, absolutely. I can't agree with you anymore. Small caps are for scalping only. Like I wouldn't go ahead and just say only, but you know, for your purposes, for our purposes, I'm gonna say yes for now, right? But like as I mentioned, I talked to a lot of you guys at BlossomCon who are holding these things overnight as swings. Not something that I would recommend, but you guys clearly know what you're doing because some of the stories that I was hearing from you guys, like I cleaned up. This person's telling me 150%. Some other one was telling me 400 something %. So I couldn't be more pleased for you guys, but I just feel like maybe, you know, as a starting point, that might not be the best thing, right? So Byron Hart, you come up with a good saying on that one. Small caps are for scalping only. Joey, we're in a new position.
I didn't even mean to block you, Byron Hart. So
did you block him?
Well, I did by accident. I didn't mean to. So
is he blocked permanently?
Well, no. What I did is just
unblock him.
No, I put hide user on this channel.
So can you unhide him?
I don't know how to do that. I talked to.
You're fine. You didn't block him because look.
Okay, now I just can't see him.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. As long as you're not blocked. So unfortunately,
Byron.
I won't be able to see any mess. I didn't mean to do that, brother. I apologize. You're in a new position there. ENTX there. Oh, you want that? No problem there. Well, we can fire that up for you. So apologies once again. Let's head over to our trade in NVDA. I mean, guys, we're seeing, it's open,
Joey.
Yeah, it's open. I'm like, what just happened there? There we go. Yeah, it's stacked here now, but it's not stacking up right now. Straight. It looks like we're starting to remove that as a momentum, maybe to the downside, guys. Watch out for a potential break of that $4 marker. If it is, it's over. As Vince Carter once said, it's over. How is that even possible? It's negative 54%?
Yeah, it's down, Joey. It's down.
What?
Yeah, because it was bleeding its own blood earlier.
Oh, man, that's crazy. All right. Oh, yeah, I can see from now. But anyways, I thought it was definitely going to be up to the top side. Now it's over.
Limit down is 374.
Yeah, it's probably going to break down. It did breach through the volume-weighted average price once again, guys. So keep an eye out on this one and just be really cautious. Listen to what Sharif said. He's been doing it for a while. So you have to take every word that he's brought up and take that into consideration. So we'll head back over to NVDA and some of these larger names. We'll run through our watch list once again because I've seen someone mention Meta. I want to take a look at that name. Okay. Man, oh man, it's really unfortunate what's going on, but I do have a thesis built on this name. We can talk about it here momentarily once we get back from the desk.
Let's take a look at the money markets at the moment. What's going on? So you have the GBP USD pair, that is a pound, currently down 0.13% at the moment, but it is edged higher against the dollar as of today as a sharp drop in oil prices has eased worries about energy-driven inflation, also tempered the expectations for further Bank of England tightening ahead of this week's policy meeting. We're going to also take a look at USD INR, that is the United States dollar versus the Indian rupee right now. So it currently closed at 95 per dollar, which is not bad a look because the Indian rupee has registered its best trading day and session in more than 6 weeks as of today. It was on the low, not a bad look over here. So we do also know likely intervention from the central bank is added to the impact of the plunge in oil price, impact of a plunge in oil prices as well. Finally, let's take a look at the DXY dollar that opened at 101.426, is currently at 101.428. Sorry, 426 again, to be precise, just dropped down. It's down on the day 0.04%, technically flat, but maintaining almost the same levels from the open at the moment.
Thank you very much for that, Sia. Great information as always.
So, yeah, I know you're taking prints over there. Let me touch on Meta here momentarily. So, guys, we talked about the supply zone around that $700 marker, But I want us to bring up the fact that, yeah, I understand that the street may not like what Meta is doing, but there's a couple of headwinds in front of this. And then I believe that once they've cooled off, this name can go pretty crazy, in my opinion. We know his AI features suck. Spark's starting to gain a little bit of ground. I understand all of that. He's up there in capital expenditures, but don't forget the antitrust, right? Like, there's a lot going on, and many analysts calling this the tobacco moment within social media. There's lawsuits left, right, and center under this name, and we've seen that what I'm referring to is in Google and Apple. Once the judge ruled in their favor, look what happened to both of the names. So I believe that this is an additional headwind within the company itself. And if that cools off, I think we can definitely see some all-time highs. We may have before them, but I just believe there's too much short interest right now in order for this name to continuously climb. Like, it's no coincidence that you reject 680 5-6 times now. Like, in a $600 name, look how much, like, this is obviously program selling.
Oh.
Okay. So you just want to keep an eye out on this. Once that cools down and they have to pay X amount, I understand that states are going to probably start to put a lot of regulation on social media, which is totally fine. There's still a digital ad revenue giant.
Down goes LVWR. I think we're breaching 45 here for maybe the first time. I'm seeing, look at the time in sales. We're seeing 44s for the first time. I hadn't seen 44s come in on the time and sales because that 45 buyer kept defending it. So let's get a liquidity tester here. There we go. Okay, so it did print at 44s. Let's go. Let's go down to about 2.25 here on LVWR. We're short from 66s. We've been awfully patient with this one. So let's see what kind of cookie will crumble here. Bovin astutely pointing out that DFNS continues to range. It has, I would say, a couple of ranges here. First and foremost, you have that 50 penny range. 8.5 is support, 9 generally as resistance. But it does tend to open up. And the opening up takes it down to 8 up to 9.5. So $1.50 worth of range. I've scalped this one out positively. I don't want to overstay my welcome on this one because I feel like it's like the recipe to get clipped and give back. But my spidey sense tells me this thing has a 966 high a day. There is a good possibility that this bad boy smashes into 10 bucks, maybe even more. Shout out to Farm Trader. DFNS, I'm in. I hope you print up storms, Farm Trader. I really do, brother. With or without me, man. I hope you're printing up storms on your side. I love to see everybody trading small caps wisely, you know, and using the right risk management skills. But that's what I'm going to keep my eye on here. DFNS, we're going to keep an eye out on that. Now, I have another trade here, and we're looking for ENTX to at least test 4. So we built up the position, a couple of beak wetters here. I felt like, you know, I got the low end of the range in about 3 3/4, but we're not getting that aggressive test of 4 quite yet. The best print I have is something in and around 393, and that was on the candle at 1245. So I'm looking for an ascending wedge pattern here to break out. Now I'm seeing the ascending wedge pattern, you know, in many areas. So generally, this 5-minute looks like an ascending wedge. Area low, area low, area low. All the while, it's that 390 flat top. But I'm also seeing the ascending wedge pattern take place over here. I'm talking about the 1205 bar onwards. Higher lows with that 390, let's say mid 390s, flat top break. So let's see what ENTX has to offer here, guys. I'd love to get a proper fill on this one. SNDQ, you got to be on watch for this one. Obviously, it's not a small cap gapper. This is an inverse leveraged SanDisk ETF, but it is trending to the high side. 42 bucks, good liquidity on this one for anybody who wants to trade that kind of name. So that's what I'm involved in right now. I saw the big price spike up there on DFNS into 9.5, but there it goes, dropping right back into 9. Stack, I see Stack is going to halt down here or something, 350. Price action is stagnant on Stack. That usually means it's in a halt parameter 346. It's bleeding its own blood. Be careful with this one, guys, okay? And down goes LVWR. Mr. Options, man, into another area low. It took out the 45 seller. The blood is in the street. I don't normally short small cap gappers, but I felt good about this one today. We saw the setup. We punched in. Luis frickin' Barbado, I think, would be proud. And he did message me, so I have to send it to you right now because we got to do something.
Yeah, you guys could have a little conversation. All right, guys. So yeah, I mean, once it breaks this level, I did add right at this base, there's a support level there. But if the Nasdaq doesn't get any form of a bounce and we continue to move a little bit lower, what I did is I just added what this original position was, and then looking for some form of a rebound. It doesn't look like we're gonna get it. I mean, we've been up, we've been hella down, and then now we're not going to be playing that game around with this overall market. With an hour left in the show, that'll be the it for me for trading after this specific one, and we'll walk away. There it is, right? It's hit that low. It broke through that support. We'll take it for what it is, and I mean, hit a lot of fees here today as I'm looking at my blotter here. So yeah, that's it. A nice bounce off the lows here. We had that nice position. Look at that hold all the way through to another support system. Looking for the reload right here, and it just doesn't want to bounce. Now, who was I talking with? I just believe there's going to be more short-term downside within NVDA. And I mentioned this a while ago, guys. I just pray that it's for everyone, for shareholders, for a lot of individuals' sake, that it doesn't turn into another Microsoft. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, but you never know. Especially if you have individuals like Michael Burry who decide to short this name and some more short interest. But I'm not seeing that displayed on the options chain, which would give us a good picture and have the ability to identify where some of these larger participants are hiding. Now, 210, 215, we might struggle to break and hold $200 here on the week, guys, considering it is the largest amount on this week's expiration cycle. 170 is where there's the most amount of, I mean, short side puts here, guys. So a lot of gamma exposure at this specific zone. And like I was saying, I think at some point we can definitely see those levels in which I'll be buying the most amount I can possibly buy. It's just like throw the kitchen sink at it, in my opinion, at this. Don't listen to not financial advice. This is what I will be doing, is that if NVDA goes down to $170, I will be throwing the kitchen sink at this bad boy in this level just to drastically bring my average as close as I possibly can to this zone. All right, so that's what I'm going to be looking at. We haven't seen this amount of open interest on the put side of things in quite some time. Now, we can head over to another expiration cycle just to confirm for ourselves, like, hey, we're not seeing anything else other than that. Now, you can see how much smaller the size is with a name that's usually top 4 or 5 in volume traded on options, within options activity, I should say. So we'll keep an eye out on this specific level. Hey man, you get that magnet effect and anything can happen. 220 is not in the picture, I don't believe, for this week. And you can see just the concentration as we get north of the current strike price in which we're trading at right now. It's just a lot of overhead, and then you have the base that can potentially be established over here. Now, if we go look at another name like Apple, completely different, right? Not that much overhead resistance. You can see we're only in the single digits here. A couple thousand there, a couple thousand there. Nothing going on, man. A lot of positive going on for AAPL right now. Not necessarily the case with NVDA, and I'm okay with that. How is AMD doing? We'll see how we'll see how the options chain looks out on this bad boy. Getting expensive, so you can see that the liquidity is starting to dry up via options, guys. Not that much open interest makes it a little bit more difficult to read the chain. Now, NASDAQ will pull up that bad boy and see what we have on the triple Qs.
What do you got,
for
Joey?
this week? We'll see, man. We're waiting for this bad boy to load up, and this can be a massive teller on where the larger participants are hiding out. Here it is, 684. Our guy Trapman for real. He is, I believe you bought more SPY calls. Let's see if that works out for you, brother. But we're at 195 now here on NVDA, and we're about to put in a new low of the day on the NAS. That's why we get out when we're supposed to, just to save face. You give a little bit back, but nothing substantial, as the market and some of these larger capitalization names are continuously bleeding their own blood. Here's ARM. Yeah, I mean, Sharif, ARM down 42% off the highs, just like that.
Time to buy or no?
I don't know yet, man. Hey, if you want to start small, then you can start small. Robinhood, a name that had the inability to break that $120 marker, now down to 94 bucks. Now this name, I'm going to be just eliminating it. I just bought it to see what was, to see Wagwan with it, which is crazy. Yeah, Wagwan. What's up, Katina, man? How was the gym? Good, bang. There it is. 20% off the highs, but I'll just be offloading it. Why? Because I want to buy some more of this.
Okay.
Yeah, Google, Alphabet Company, down 20% off of the highs. I like it.
All right, guys, let's not forget Luis Barbado for everybody who wants to trade these small cap gappers. Day trading, and Luis leading the way. They've got the small cap theory course, guys. You get 16 hours of online live classes from 12 hours to 15 hours, or the time, I guess. That's Monday to Friday. It's 3 hours focused every day. It ends in August. It starts end of August to beginning of September, so reserve your spot now. Maximum size per class is 6 to 8 people. So very, very limited. You're going to learn the theory of the market and the concepts, strategies and setups, statistics. So you're going to get some quant there, and probabilities, tools and scanners, the psychology and the mindset behind everything. This is a small cap theory course. It's being led here by the OG Luis Barbado and Mark. I don't know how to say his last, Bakardit. Luis has got over 20 years of day trading experience. He's a coach in trading for traders. He's also the founder of Day Trading, and Mark's got 10 years of day trading experience with U.S. stocks. He's a coach and trainer, and he's also one of the founders as well. So make sure if you're interested in that, there's the website, right? adaytrading.com, the email, the WhatsApp number at the top, and of course, the Trusty X account. Thank you again, Luis, for setting this up. I know that a lot of people are interested when you did mention that again. So thanks for that. There goes DFNS, Joey. 1047 limit up. 1022, 1032, 1043, 1047 limit up. There's a lot of selling. It's a 1044 high a day. There's a buyer at 10. Be careful with this one. It can turn in a heartbeat. But there is a buyer here locally at 10. 10 single digits. He's moving up, Joey, into 10 double digits. There it goes again. Now the buyer's buying in the high teens, low 20s. Wow, there it goes. 1047, now 1064 limit up. That is now the breakout level. Look at the strength right now on DFNS. Let's see if that 10 buyer steps in again, Mr. Options. Let's see, we're buying in the high 20s. Low 20s. There we go, down into 10. That 10 buyer still defending. So nothing really below 10 right now, whether on the 1 or the 5. So continuing to watch that. It does feel like, wow, that 10 buyer is staunchy. It did dip below 10 momentarily into 96, 98, but it keeps getting bought right back up. If you're putting your stop placement right below 10, you're doing yourself a disservice. You got to give it room, especially with a volatile name like this. I'm not saying too much in the way of room, but it's got to be sound enough so that you don't get wicked in and wicked out. But DFNS, all sorts of strong. Very, very happy for everybody who's printing on this one. We're still printing short here on LVWR, and we're still holding the long here on ENTX, which we did get a couple of beak wetters on into the mid-90s. We're still holding here for a $4, though, flat top break. But it's DFNS's world. We're all just living in it right now, baby. Right? Zig and zag, zig and zag. So keep your eye out on this one right now. Which broker am I using, says John Arslan. So, couple of answers to that. Ironically enough, anytime you see the black charts, that's my SIM account for Interactive Brokers. That's my personal account. The reason I'm in SIM there, I don't want you to see my account number, okay? And then the white charts, anytime you see this right here, like what you're looking at, this is a proprietary software called P8, and it belongs to the firm that we work for called Real Trading, okay? So they are two separate systems, but we kind of use them interchangingly using them. 1089 limit up, Joseph. This is very strong. This is very strong. 1089 limit up. I feel like we're going to see 11 sooner rather than later. And guys, if we start seeing 11, I'm going to start thinking 15. Okay? So let's keep a close eye on this one. We've taken out some sellers here, Katina, man, north of $10. So could open up here. Could open up. Be careful with this one. Joseph.
All right, man. Good stuff. We're back in this bad boy. Oh, I'm in the... Yeah, that's a great feeling.
Get it, options, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty good feeling, that's for sure. Where's
I
the
got a
NASDAQ?
feeling
Yeah, woohoo on
that
this one.
tonight's gonna be.
Yeah, all right, man. That's the thing, Sharif. We're gonna just get out of this here unscathed. I wanted to get in on NVDL once again here, but we'll take a little scalp on the NASDAQ here, guys. But definitely not what I was looking at. Some buying pressure starting to step in on the lower end of the range. And you just get into the detail of the 1 minute time frame. Let's see if it can get a sustained bounce. I'm glad that we got out of that one there. So not too bad whatsoever. Bang, NVDA, potential rebound back in towards this prior structure. But if it's really weak and these signals break, like what are we talking about? We're down 5%. Is it really weak? Of course it is. But if it's even weaker than what I suspect, you might see some more downside. But I do believe price action will cool down at one point. We are getting closer to that 2 o'clock hour when things do tend to slow down a little bit. But let's try another attempt on this bad boy here. I like where we're sitting, and the risk to reward is most definitely there. All right, so let's keep an eye on it just in case we see on the tape what we're specifically looking for. A nice bounce up there in the NASDAQ. And watch out, guys. This is what I was talking about. I've been talking about it the whole day. Is I do believe there's going to be more downside in AMD. What was I going to type in here? NVDL. Bang. There's that uptick in the NASDAQ. Oh, wow. Okay. Obviously, hey, I was in the wrong stock. I was in the wrong stock. But it's starting to find somewhat of a rebound here. We'll wait for more of a pullback in this name. But look at this, guys. A high of the day of $208. You're now trading at $195. Is it really what I'm talking about? Is it that far-fetched, especially after today's session? I don't think so. I'm going to be honest with you. I do believe that there's going to be some more downside in this, and I'm okay with that because I'm a flat-out buyer. It's that plain and simple. I'm not going to complicate anything, and you know what? I'll show my cards, man, because, whoa, yeah, that's definitely in the works. We're going to see 85s, Sharif, and then I believe at that point we're going to see 80s. Gets even uglier than expected. We're going to see south of 165 on this bad boy. I could be getting way ahead of myself, and if that's the case, then I'm going to be the giddiest individual at 175, 170. Yeah, man, I told everybody I will throw the kitchen sink at this company here at 170.
Those are pretty heavy, though, eh?
Kitchen sinks?
Yeah.
I'm all right with the weight.
I like it. That's confident. Well, you don't smash 8 muscle ups in a row if you weren't comfortable with that weight.
7.
My bad.
Seven.
I thought, I tend to gravitate to number 8. You just did 8?
Keenan did 8. Yeah.
Muscle ups, Sia.
Muscle ups. How many can you do, Sia?
How many muscle ups can you do, Sia?
I'm training to do it though.
Yeah.
I want to. I can't.
Can I give a suggestion if I'm allowed?
Yeah.
Bands.
Yeah.
Have you seen how they put the bands on the bottom as like an assistive device?
That's how I started doing pull-ups too with the bands, but now I can do like a little with them.
Isn't that awesome? I love progression exercises because they help you do exercises that you can't typically do. I use them all the time.
I feel like I've started focusing more on like body weight than like everything because I want to get more into calisthenics too.
I couldn't agree more with that. I couldn't agree more. And you know what else I could agree more with? There goes DFNS into a high of day of 1144. Y'all thought I didn't see that? You thought I was going to remain calm?
That's crazy.
There we go, Joseph Options. We got 44s on, and the best print we have is at the third of a dollar. We're looking for the 1144 break. Go, DFNS, go. Bovin, what are you seeing over there, buddy? Because anything below 1050 is going to end the trade for me, my friend. Let me tell you something. We're going to put it down all the way down here. So we're going to get, let's put 1169, Joseph. Either we're going to get 1169 or we're going to stop out. Eccentric pull-ups, yeah. I should try those. But you know what else has been not pulling up? LVWR, down goes Fraser into $2.30. We got 266 on this mother, you know what. We're looking for a little bit more. Let's keep an eye out on that one. Then we're still, of course, we're holding ENTX here. A couple of pennies in the money, but the flat top break continues to elude me here. Bovin wants $20 like a psycho on DFNS, and more pleased I could not be for Bovin. That's the kind of ambition that I want to see. But Bovin, before we start looking at 20, buddy, how about we get through 1150? How about we get through 15, right? Let's move in waves of 5 here, Joey. Here comes 11 and a quarter, 11 and a third. We're waiting at 69. It's 11.78 limit up right now from what I can see. There's a big $0.25 seller. Let's see if we can get anything on the time and sales at the third. There's the third options, man. Now we're zigging. We're zagging. Here comes the $0.50 options, man. And that's going to be the end of the trade for me. Okay. Into the $0.50 we go. That is the area high, 11.44. Go. DFNS go. Let's see if we can pick some more up though. Let's see if it comes back into 10, maybe 9.5. We'll add a little bit more. But we are getting a little bit overtime right now, right? Sia's waiting. She's got the news ready, set up to go. And goodness knows we have a lot to talk about today. Okay. Nothing but space, says Tisha. Love hearing that. It should be a good one for everyone. Trade this one carefully, of course. Have anything to add before we mosey on up?
No, man. Let's fire it up.
Let's go. Let's send it to Sia.
Let's start with NBC Universal. So NBC Universal's Peacock will now be officially landing on YouTube. All the content, including NBC Sports portfolio on the NFL, as well as NBA Universal films like the Minions franchise, my favorite, and original Peacock and Bravo content like The Real Housewives and Love Island USA will all be landing on YouTube Premium subscriptions in the US starting early next year. So YouTube Premium offers a variety of plans that begins at $8.99 a month, whereas you have Peacock Premium currently costing $10.99 per month. So this partnership has been formed after Comcast co-CEO Brian Roberts had reached out to YouTube CEO Neil Mohan about 9 months ago, according to a person who's familiar with the matter, stating this had been followed up with a meeting between these executive teams at the Google offices, where the two companies had begun to brainstorm partnerships such as this. So we have during Comcast earnings call with investors, co-CEO Mike Cavanaugh, who will become CEO of NBC Universal Business following this separation, had said that he expects Peacock to remain profitable on an annual basis in the future with some fluctuation between quarters. You have CMCSA up 4% on the day.
Yeah, very interesting look here. Not a company or a segment I know too much about, but nice to see that they're throwing their hat into the ring for sports because it's really become dominated more by the hyperscalers who have a lot more money than traditional and linear media companies. And we see that we don't even need to see the competition for sports. We see that in the consolidation of linear media. You're seeing, of course, Paramount Skydance tie up with Warner Brothers. You're looking at Comcast, of course, divesting a lot of their cable networks to kind of help the streaming side catch a bid on its own. So I like some of this stuff, but not something that I feel, I'm going to commit a lot of mental capital to, because it's not really something that I understand all that much.
Yeah, that's fair enough, man. I believe we should move on to the next story. We'll talk some NVDA and SpaceX.
Let's do that. Let's talk a bit NVDA, SpaceX, as well as Microsoft that have launched AI safety initiatives. So NVIDIA and these couple other tech giants have, as of today, launched a new artificial intelligence safety initiative that's focused on open models due to the fallout from a cyber attack that was committed by a rogue OpenAI agent model. Now, last week it had emerged that the target of the attack was a startup called Hugging Face that had been unable to use leading U.S. frontier models to defend itself. You had guardrails that had not been able to distinguish between aggressor as well as defender, and instead it had turned into a self-hosted open-weight Chinese model, which has not been bound by the same restrictions. Sharif and I were also talking about this, I believe, on Friday, but off camera. So open models can be downloaded, modified, and self-hosted, in contrast to closed models. That's the key difference over here, including frontier systems that are built by Anthropic as well as OpenAI, which can only be accessed through specific infrastructure. But you had NVIDIA saying in a statement that, quote, the open source secure AI alliance will work to remediate and disclose vulnerabilities using open technologies, and quote, continuing to say that, quote unquote, the recent Hugging Face security incident delivered a clear reminder that is cyber defenders need open frontier agentic systems for self-defense. I'm just going to check how NVIDIA is doing at the moment. It's down over 5% on the day.
All right, hot take. I don't believe anything Altman says. I think that he is highly dishonest, and pardon me. Oh, yeah, I was putting it that way because of Joey. I think he kind of orchestrated this entire thing. He claims that he had this new frontier model in a sandbox, and the sandbox prohibits it from gaining access to everything that they've blocked off from it, hence the term sandbox. So this this rogue model that is so good that couldn't be controlled by Altman and company broke out because it gained internet access that it was denied vis-a-vis the sandbox, and then decided that the best way that it was going to solve the problem that had been assigned to it by some of the programmers was to break into Hugging Face. It didn't choose any other model. It chose a Hugging Face. The company that Altman has a very, very close and cozy relationship with. What a shock. What a selection by the model. It was so astute. It knew to go to Hugging Face. Nobody else. This is a load of crock. Altman's behind. Anthropic's eating his lunch, and he needs to create a headline to kind of spur up demand for his fledgling model. That's what I think. Altman sucks, and I think OpenAI sucks, and I don't mind seeing them IPO so we can short them.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to follow up there. Yeah, you get them, Sharif, for sure. I do agree to the point that I do believe this was orchestrated from Sam Altman. Why? Because look what Dario was doing with Mythos. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to have this form of fear-mongering, which really helped, obviously, the stock in the company, I should say, in the publicity of Anthropic. Look what happened to some of the SaaS names. You have CrowdStrike, some of the cybersecurity names absolutely tanking, falling 40% on the fact that Mythos found all of these issues. I think Sam Altman was trying to do the exact same thing to try to get the exact same knee-jerk reaction for his company, but it just didn't pan out how he was expecting it. Now, I will say this, Sharif. Sure. I agree with you on the fact that Sam Altman is a sketchy individual. Will this be a name that I would be shorting out of the IPO? I don't think so. Why? Because 1 billion monthly active users, as much as it sucks right now, 1 billion monthly active users, and we're starting to see digital ad revenue on the side of things, which I think would make it a little bit more difficult. And you and I actually had the conversation, how much more would you like OpenAI if Sam Altman was booted from CEO?
I would like it better.
Exactly.
But,
so,
you know,
if it's happened once, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again.
2 points I want to say to
Absolutely.
that. Altman's already pissed off a lot of the talent.
Everyone.
And we said specifically why Anthropic got so good, because all the PhDs who were disgruntled with Altman all followed Midday over him and his sister to Anthropic. That's point number one. Point number two, I just have to say to you, you're absolutely right. The daily active users, the monthly active users, however you want to quantify it, Joey. But I got to say, don't you think the market's already priced in all these DAOs?
Absolutely. I 100%, man. But the issue is we talk about the freemium. The majority of these users are on the free model, right? So with that digital ad starting to step in, it may help a little bit. Listen, this guy is indebted throughout the wazoo. People don't like him, but I think just because he's a CEO that isn't well liked, I don't think we should take too much away from OpenAI, because if he's kicked again, then this company can
You're not wrong, man. There's still going to be a lot of talent.
Right?
All right,
exactly.
Just mention a couple of the different headlines here, because we have Nvidia, SpaceX, and Microsoft kind of all under the same heading. So I want to mention SpaceX. Fantastic success last week with Starship version 3. It wasn't perfect, as we saw. A couple of mishaps. The booster, had a hard landing in the Gulf, so it wasn't caught by the chopsticks. It was supposed to be a soft landing into the water. It ended up being hard. They went too fast. They'll fix that. With respect to Starship and the landing in the Indian Ocean, I thought that was pretty much a success. It didn't blow up, and it deployed its payload into space, which is version 3 of the low Earth orbit satellite Starlink satellites, pardon me. And these are supposed to test sort of the direct-to-cellular connectivity that is supposed to be coming up, I guess, in the near future. So I'm very excited that they had that success there. I look for more, you're right, to see that if we can get all the processes right in the launch and the landing and the deployment of payload and everything like that. So I'm super happy that they got that right. I like the ambition. And then last but not least, Nvidia backstopping today the lease on OpenAI. OpenAI with a new, exactly, he's got it right there. OpenAI with a new data center deal, and this is happening more. Adira and I were talking about that in the morning. We saw it with AMD backstopping Anthropic's lease last week. We're seeing it now with Nvidia backstopping OpenAI's lease. They get better terms, better prices when, I guess, a multi-trillion-dollar company is co-signing your lead.
And a couple more things. Like now, so we started with token maxing. Now we're cloud maxing. Like this term is driving me nuts. I want to add one more thing about Sam Altman-Sharif. Look whose toes he's stepped on so far now. Apple,
Bro, I mean,
Microsoft,
it's a who's who,
Elon,
bro.
right?
It's a who's who.
It's literally this guy. Listen, he was ousted for the first time for a reason. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the future he's kicked off again because he's a slithery snake in my opinion. I do agree, but I'm not going to take away from the company.
No. I mean, the company. Let's not crap all over the company.
Yeah, it's
well,
the
even though I already
individual.
did.
Well, no, which is fair, but it's an individual who more or less you're aiming at, right? So yeah, totally fair. Let's move on to the next story.
All right, let's send it back to you guys.
Let's talk a little bit DRAM here. So China's Changshan technology group, that is a CXMT, has surged nearly 466% in its Shanghai STAR market debut after raising $8.6 billion. This makes it China's most valuable listed company and signaling enormous investor enthusiasm as well for domestic AI semiconductor leaders. So now CXMT currently holds roughly 7.7% of the global DRAM market and has also drawn attention following reports that Apple is currently testing its memory chips for devices sold in China. So the company is also expected to benefit from Beijing's continued push for semiconductor self-sufficiency.
I like this. I get that this is a Chinese supplier and there is fear about doing any business with them lest they include some spyware housed within the hardware. I get the concerns. This company, as of right now, is not prohibited from doing business with American companies. It is prohibited from doing business with the Pentagon and any defense-related companies that do business with the Pentagon. Apple doesn't happen to fall into that category. So what Sia was referencing there was Apple's sort of unconfirmed report that they would be looking to buy RAM, NAND, DRAM from CXMT, which is called Changshan Memory, because, well, Micron, SanDisk, SK Hynix, Samsung, they've all 4 or 5-fold their prices in the last year. So they're looking obviously at maintaining margins. Now, why I do like this as a strategic alternative is for prices. Simple as that. If the Americans can maybe kind of just sort of feign that they will allow CXMT to do business, then we might actually get some preemptive pricing reductions from the likes of SK Hynix, the likes of Samsung, the likes of Micron, maybe, I don't know, right? But when the Chinese are going to compete with you, maybe you're not as gung-ho to continue to raise prices in the same way that you've been doing. This company is pretty well established in China, and it has some big money backers. We're talking about NIO, Xiaomi, Chery, Alibaba, all of which have thrown their support behind CXMT. And in fact, NIO was one of the earliest investors, and they've seen a 500% return on their investment so far. So as I was saying this morning in the big desk, when NIO reports, what I'd be expecting is a one-line item accounting for that 500% increase on their investment, but a non-recurring one-line item. Joseph, look, the demand for the IPO was oversubscribed by 244 times. Okay,
on SK you're referring to?
On CXMT.
Oh, okay.
Oversubscribed by 244 times. Institutional bidding exceeded by 500 times. All to participate only in an $8.6 billion offering. I don't want to say only, but, you know, relatively speaking to what we've seen, 35, you know, 8.6.
Yeah, relatively small. Listen, I mean, we already seen some of these major companies, Apple, looking to step outside of North America just to eliminate or reduce some of these memory storage costs. I think we're sitting in the exact same boat. I don't know if the United States is going to allow some of the companies, corporations here to grab it from this company specifically. We're already having issues with NVDA's chips. Will they do that? Will they be willing to do that just to relieve some of this pressure? We talk about the bottleneck over and over again, and if that's the case, you will see some of the Micron, SanDisk, Seagate, Western Digitals hit pretty heavily, in my opinion, but at some point they will recover. I just don't think that the American government is going to allow Apple to buy chips outside of the United States, or sorry, buy memory storage out of the United States.
I got to tell you the truth. I would be surprised as well. I would be surprised as well, but like what I'm thinking is maybe just feign at least initially that you will, just so you can kind of force the other vendors to drop their prices a
Relieve
little
some
bit.
pressure?
Yeah, like
Which is
4 or
what
5
I can see doing, right?
times in a
Like,
year, bro.
The real question is, Sharif, is I think what we'll see in the upcoming earnings report is how much of a hindrance does this have on margins? Like if margins are getting absolutely destroyed and it's like, hey, this stuff is borderline unaffordable at this point, then maybe some steps will be taken. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case right now.
You're thinking about Apple's margins?
Yeah, Apple.
Well, we saw some of the price increases.
We've seen that, but we like how much is it? Like sales are going to be important, and then obviously how much compression.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
My concern is sales drop because prices increased, right? My understanding was though that the iPhone is going to come at a different strategy here. So you're going to have 2 iPhone prices. You're going to have the Pro and Pro Max move up a lot more. And you're going to see the regular iPhone 18 not really move up that much. But what you're going to see Apple do is try to force you to buy the Pro. So there's going to be some exclusive Pro only. I'm assuming it's going to do with AI and the new revamped Siri, so that you're persuaded to spend a bit more. But lest you decide otherwise, there's that, that basic iPhone 18 that still, captures whatever, other market there is. So that's my understanding. We never really know what the hell Apple's going to do until they do it, though.
Exactly. But I mean, we've seen some of the price increases already. I think it was like $100, I believe, on the iPhone Pro Max.
We don't know, brother. They haven't told us.
Oh, I swore we were talking about before. There was an article somewhere around 100 to 150.
Apple never discloses prices about the iPhone, but we did see everything else.
Yeah. The big issue being is I'm pretty sure we did, but we can double check because I think we all covered it here. How much they were going to actually increase on top of the higher price models. We can figure that out right now. But the cheaper MacBook, right? That like you're going to have an increase on that.
So apparently, and I just Googled this because I didn't remember hearing about this. I guess this might have happened while I was on vacation. But $200 price increase is what could be seen here for the iPhone 18 Pro. I'm not seeing from what or to what, though. Just to clarify that.
Right. But so we did cover this. I remember I won't be able to pull it up now, but $200 price increase. I mean, if you're looking at a phone that's already $1,300 or $1,200, $200, I mean, that is quite a bit. But if you're looking to spend that cash, I don't know how much that's going to really be. Oh, no, whoa, there's no way I'm buying it now at that point.
So yeah, as I suspected, Apple didn't release anything, and everything that's coming out is entirely speculative.
So okay, so that's exactly. So I forget who it was. What analyst group said that they're anticipating $150 to $200.
It's Counterpoint and IDC.
Yeah,
they project the flagship iPhone 18 and Pro, 18 Pro and Pro Max, as you were saying exactly, Joseph, $100 to $200 compared to a previous generation. But we don't know.
Yeah, but Apple hasn't released any statements themselves. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not good, obviously, and it's going to hurt sales. But we already just went through a double-digit cycle of growth within iPhone sales, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some cooling down.
All right.
Let's take a look at our next story over here. So CME Group has said as of today that it has launched a cash-settled single stock features on 55 U.S. equities along with micro-sized contracts on 22 names here, marking the exchange's push into a market that's designed to let investors take leverage long or short positions around the clock. Contracts will be trading on CME's Globex platform on Sunday evening through Friday afternoon, with 1 hour that will be dedicated to maintenance breaks, enabling investors to respond to earnings and also other market moving events outside of regular U.S. stock market moving hours. So the lineup includes futures tied to SpaceX, which is one of Wall Street's most closely watched recent IPOs, as well as Micron Technology, Nvidia, Tesla, and Apple. Standard contracts represent 100 shares of the underlying stock, while also micro contracts will be representing 10 shares. Morgan Stanley analyst Michael Cypress had said in a note that retail brokers have characterized the launch as the year's largest retail growth catalyst, with more than 35 retail partners targeting day 1/week readiness, quote unquote. Adara, what's your take?
I'm just really curious. That's honestly, I don't have anything to say on this. I wish I had something to say in this from like an intellectual perspective, but I'm quite curious as to how it's going to perform. And I say that because the more I hear about it, just, reading that and from hearing what you said there, Sia, I don't, like, they do have some competition. I know it's not exactly the same, and correct me if I'm wrong, futures traders, give me some more context, but there are already ways to trade after hours. You've got Moon, shout out to Jeff Mendel. You've got blue ocean, as we talk about a lot here, right? So I'm curious as to what size the market's going to be, and I'd really love to see what the data is and what the stats are on the level of engagement for the first week or month or so on this, because I'm curious as to how large of a size this market actually is. Now, the one thing, though, that I think is very smart is launching this during earnings, because you've got this being launched here during the whole hubbub of Mag 7 earnings week, or at least 4 of the Mag 7s reporting this week. You've got the Fed meeting. Like, there are a lot of reasons that we could see some action on these contracts. But yeah, I think longer term, I'll be quite curious to see how this performs for the reasons I just mentioned.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Sending it to the guys for their take.
I don't know enough to comment. Do you?
Yeah, I really want to talk about this because it's very intriguing. So this was a project that was previously launched and failed before. Now, I like how Adara brought up the fact that, hey, isn't there already ways where you can trade overnight? Now, if that being said, I think the objective of this, I don't know if I'm not going to put it all into one basket, but it's a leverage system, right? When you're trading futures, you're trying to use a leverage product. And if it failed before, the objective of this is to make it more simplistic than trading options. I just don't know how much interest this is going to gain. And there's more downside risk, right? Like, there's more that you can potentially lose opposed to premium paid when you're trading options. And I think that's a big thing to take into consideration when we're already having a market this is just a fancy way, Sharif, in my opinion, of just really offloading a bunch of leveraged ETFs. When the market's already getting flooded with the hyperscale, like the Mag 7, there's X amount of leveraged ETF. This is just another way to capitalize on individuals trading these style of products. I don't think that the overnight is going to have a drastic effect on it, to be honest with you. I think underlying in the actual equity itself is the way to go. And then they're using it as it's more simplistic than the Greeks, but they're forgetting the fact that there's more downside risk than when you are just straight out buying options, puts or calls, okay? Risk is premium paid. That's not necessarily the case here when it comes to these futures.
All right, let's send it back to Sia.
Let's take a look at our next story here. So Amazon has asked federal regulators to approve a request to launch up to 5,105 internet satellites as a part of a constellation that will provide a direct-to-device connectivity. So Amazon had first telegraphed its plans to launch a D2D, that is the direct-to-device connectivity network, in April, when it had announced that it would acquire satellite operator Globalstar in a deal that would be worth about $11.6 billion. Something to know that D2D networks provide connectivity straight to smartphones or other devices via satellites in place of traditional cell towers that we've been having. And also, in an application that was made on Saturday with the Federal Communications Commission, Amazon has said that its D2D network would combine its existing infrastructure with Globalstar's satellites as well as its spectrums. So Amazon is targeting users who are quote unquote unserved or underserved by existing wireless providers. This particular filing has that stated in it, and the company has said that Amazon looks forward to delivering on the promise of D2D connectivity, including to the millions of people living, traveling, and working in places beyond the reach of existing networks today. With that, you have Amazon down, well, technically flat on the day, but before we head to the guys for their take, let's go to Adira.
Yeah, President Trump here is on camera. He's speaking. He's going to be apparently watching a drag show in about, or drag race show, like people drag racing, in about, I think like 145, 150. So it should be in about 15 to 20 minutes. Then we're going to get comments from him at 2:10, and then more comments from him at 2:50. So lots of Trump this afternoon. Not seeing anything massive from this round of comments, but be aware, President Trump watching the drag race, doing a gift ceremony, and then making more comments.
These are some hot comments here coming in, man, from President Trump with respect to Israel, with respect to the F-35. Very interesting comments coming in right now. Let me talk about this Amazon story here. So Amazon, by acquiring Globalstar, of course, we know that they've made themselves kind of the backbone to Apple's satellite system, because that's what the emergency kind of cell to satellite system works on, at Globalstar. That was an $11.6 billion acquisition by Amazon. I like that. That is distinct, though, from their Project Kuiper. So Project Kuiper has an entirely different set of low Earth orbit satellites. This is going to be entirely in addition to that. But we need to distinguish the different types of low Earth orbit satellites because they're not all the same. As Sia was mentioning, this is D2D, but not all D2D direct to device is created equally. One takes this bent pipe approach. What am I talking about? So basically they act as signal reflectors between phones and the ground stations. So inherent in that statement is reliance on ground stations. We want to move past that. We want direct to cellular, satellite to cellular service directly. And that's what this new stuff is doing. So you're going to have signal processing and inter-satellite optical lasers that are going to link each satellite directly and then route data into space before it goes back to the ground and goes onto your device. So the old way of doing things was basically just to reflect the terrestrial signal into space, which still requires these cell towers. And the new way is just directly from satellite to the cell phone. So this is what we're talking about here. And that's why I think this is a big deal, right? Because we've often been talking about how, in my opinion, the telecom companies are, you're setting up short here because their technology that they've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars on for the last, let's say, 2 decades, a decade and a half, may become kind of defunct. Especially if you get, the SpaceXs and the Amazons who have ample amount of money putting their own cellular network into space and cutting you out, right? So that's what I think about this one. We're also talking about a 6 to 8 year hardware objective obsolescence cycle. So these bad boys will have to be replaced, every half decade, 3/4 of a decade. So they're not up there forever. That's capital intensive heavy. We have to make sure that that makes sense from a financing perspective so that they're generating, enough money to keep the ball afloat here.
Yeah, so a couple of interesting, doesn't Apple own 20% of Global Star? I'm pretty sure.
Be honest with you, I'm
it
not
was either
sure.
that or
After the
Echo
acquisition.
Star.
It could be.
Yeah, I still believe that they do. So Sharif, I remember when this first came out, when Amazon was getting involved with this here. First things first. So 5,100 low Earth orbit satellites, they're already kind of behind quota on that. They missed the amount of launch, the specific amount of satellites they wanted to send into low orbit. But one thing that I want to focus on, I think is really important, is that it wasn't directly, when the article first came out a couple of weeks ago or a month or so ago, is that it's not a direct competitor with SpaceX. The use of this was specifically from military, like a stronger signal, something that can go through concrete walls and et cetera. It wasn't necessarily straight for the individual like Starlink where you're not close, you're just way out of any form of signal, right? Yep. So that's what I find interesting, but the narrative is changing. What's interesting to me is they're planning to launch 1,600 satellites by the end of the month, and then also another 3,200 by 2029. That's quite a bit. That now, they're looking around 5,100, 5,200 by the end of 2028. So that would be a little bit behind. But other than that, man, these companies are in full force, and I think this is going to be a massive disruption within some of these telecommunication companies. Let's send it over to the desk.
Yeah, another round of comments here from President Trump on Iran, I guess talking to the press ahead of those events that I mentioned, saying that he's feeling patient, he has, quote, plenty of time, and that Iran's, quote, whole shoreline is wiped out. He says, though, that the Strait of Hormuz is in, quote, very good shape, and that talks between the U.S. and Iran are ongoing. Again, the last aspect of that was disputed by Iran earlier today. Send it over to Sia.
I think we're sending it back to Sia.
Let's take a look at Bloom Energy. So they're reporting earnings tomorrow. This is a name that I have been watching pretty closely, so I'm excited to see how this ticker does. So they will be reporting earnings tomorrow. Investors are heavily focused on whether the strong demand for AI power infrastructure can offset these elevated expectations around the company's stock powerful rally this year. So Q2 estimates are here. Consensus expectations target of an EPS of the range of 39 cents to 41 cents. Revenue projections ranging from $766.8 million up to $827 million. Full year 2026 guidance. So management has previously raised its full year expectations to non-GAAP earnings of $1.85 to $2.25 per share on a total revenue number of $3.40 billion to $3.80 billion, implying an 80% roughly of an annual revenue growth. Growth catalysts, however, to take a look at here are backed by massive multi-billion-dollar deals, including the expanded partnership with Brookfield Asset Management that is up $25 billion, and multi-gigawatt deployments with Oracle also to power AI infrastructure. Another look that I want you to see here is that BE had an initial market capitalization of approximately the range of $1.6 billion to $2.6 billion during its IPO, and currently it stands at $51.7 billion to the range of $52.6 billion, which is a big number here, and I'm really excited for the earnings, but I'm going to send it to Adara to see what she has to say.
Yeah, I'm curious here because of the short report. So as we know, in early July, Hunter Brook comes out and says they are short Bloom Energy in part because they, I guess, found some evidence that Bloom Energy had lied at least 5 times, like I said, at least 5 times since February 2025. CEO of Bloom Energy, K.R. Sridhar, had made some comments here suggesting that the company was not reliant on its China supply chain or that it had no China supply chain, and then I guess they found evidence that that wasn't the case. Bloom's denial was, I guess, that they weren't reliant on the China supply chain, but if I remember correctly, they didn't out and out say that they had no China supply chain, which is some of the comments that they'd made earlier. That's what that was suggesting. So you're gonna have to wait and see here. I think that this short report story isn't necessarily over, and I'm really curious to see if Bloom Energy, if this comes up during the call tomorrow, which will be after the bell, I wonder if they have any kind of evidence to back up or I guess to refute the comments that were made in the short report. That's what I'm quite curious about. In terms of what we're actually expecting from the report, here is the earnings preview from Trader TV Research. This is not out yet. You can find it tomorrow morning before the bell. I'll be posting it here. So yeah, like as Sia said here, you're looking for revenue of $766.88 million, earnings of 40 cents per share. That is the CEO in question. As Sia mentioned, raised guidance. Last quarter was quite strong for them. Let's see what this quarter brings. I think these gross margin year-over-year growth is really impressive. I would like to see the margins continue to have that year-over-year growth. And as I mentioned, curious if we get any mention of the short report.
Okay, so let's talk about this short report. So the accusation that was made was that they were projecting that they were going to have about 5 gigawatts, okay, which requires about 220 tons of high-grade scandium oxide. That exceeds all the scandium oxide known to exist in the world currently. That's not what Bloom Energy is doing, and to say otherwise is a mischaracterization or just a misunderstanding of how the technology works. They are using a recapturing program. So when you state, Adara, that they didn't state how they were going to capture the scandium oxide, they specifically stated how they were going to do it. And they specifically stated their recapturing process, and so that's the evidence that we're talking about. We're talking about them actually proving in the same way that you have carbon capture technology, this is the same thing. And so you're not mining for new scandium oxide, you're not mining something that doesn't exist or in a quantity that doesn't exist. It's already existing and being used in products through recycled material, and that's how it's being captured. That's what the CEO said. You can believe him or you can disbelieve him, but he explained it away in a very simple way. Okay, so that's where my kind of response to the short report lies. That is completely immaterial, though, to how the company is actually operating. This company was supposed to be a hydrogen fuel cell using the hydrolyzer, and they've completely moved away from that. They're now renting gas turbines to anybody who can buy them because of the amazing amount of short supply that they have, as well as now they're moving into this, exactly, scandium oxide and other forms of clean energy. So I like to see it. I personally do not like the concentration that the company is going after, where they're just only doing AI data centers. I'd like to see them diversify into some other areas other than just AI data centers, because if there is a bubble there or a slowdown in CapEx, they're going to be hit with that automatically. So I'd like to see them have a hand in every cookie jar.
Fair enough. I mean, we could talk about the technicals of this stock. We'll get into some other things momentarily. Adara brought it up. Like, this stock is being hit heavy, right? Short report, you're down 48%. But this leads to my next point. Now, if I'm looking at some of these numbers, revenue rocketed 134%, led by 208% surge in product revenue to $653 million. Like, you're in triple-digit. What I'm getting at here is you're in triple-digit growth. Now, what I'm going to be looking for during the report is, are we going to exceed that? That's my major question. And if the answer is no, then the stock will probably get hit heavier just due to the fact of the short report. I have no idea in regards to what's going on behind the scenes. I'm just going to be looking at the numbers specifically, because if this company is growing at this clip rate, at this point, I believe it's oversold.
This story is very, very, very cool that I want to talk about now. It's about Ford. Let's take a look. Ford Motors is expanding its accessory and parts business in an effort to boost profits and also better tap into the $53 billion U.S. aftermarket industry. F is planning to increase its aftermarket products from exterior detailing to vehicle wraps to performance parts and systems that have more exclusive moments as compared to a Nike shoe drop. Stay with me. With new and special edition vehicle models as well. This is coming according to Matt Simpson, who is Ford's customization executive director. So he had said to CNBC at the Michigan International Speedway racetrack that thinking like a quote-unquote Nike dropping a sneaker is a vision that they are significantly increasing their investment in this group to bring more choice and engage customers in these after sales. So automakers have long used the special edition vehicles and souped up models to boost vehicle prices and profits, but Ford here has particularly said that it is methodically taking steps to increase customers' ability to customize vehicles across all price levels, trying to make it more accessible. But this will include expanding accessories as well as investing additional resources in Ford Custom Garage, which launched last year as a one-stop shop kind of a destination for customers, for customization, from Ford. So it's Custom Garage's first shoe-like quote-unquote vehicle drop has occurred as of today. You can see it right in front of my screen over here. It's pink. It looks like a Barbie. I like it. It has unveiled a sunrise-inspired Ford Bronco SUV, which looks very close to, like I said, and CNBC did report this too as well. Barbie kind of a drop. Adero, what's your take?
Yeah, I just think it's interesting how many Ford stories we have had kind of all morning. You had this one. You had even like that pop here around, I believe, 12:27 p.m. when Wall Street Journal reported that the company is maybe trying for its largest Army contract in quite a while. There's some funny responses to that in the chat, like, oh, Ford's being used in the battleground, but I digress. We also had an upgrade this morning alongside GM. So I think it's been a good day for these legacy automakers, at least in terms of stories. Maybe not necessarily in terms of stock, though I guess compared to where we closed yesterday, slightly green. But yeah, I think Ford with earnings tomorrow after the bell, very curious to see what they cook up.
Absolutely, same here. Stock currently trading flat, just like you said. What do you have to say, guys?
Not a name I'm interested in. I'll pass.
I'll say one thing. This isn't going to be a needle mover. The only thing, to be honest with you, of course, Ford wants you to customize your vehicle because it's going to cost you more money at the end of the day. But I don't think this is something that is going to really help the performance of the stock. What has helped the performance of the stock, and we've seen this within Tesla, is the energy storage segment that they're starting. I think that what we've seen with this name specifically, day after day, for about a week straight, it was just right out of the gate, market limited on opens, marketable limited on opens, and just off to the races it went. This isn't going to be very much. I mean, you can have people customize their vehicle, but it's not going to help the top or the bottom line whatsoever.
All right.
See you.
Yep, we're going to take a look at MP. Sorry, I was just looking more into the details of the car. So MP Materials has secured a major U.S. government investment as the Pentagon has purchased a 15% stake and committed billions in financing to accelerate domestic rare earth production, also reduce its reliance on China. This funding will be supporting construction of a second magnet manufacturing facility here, expanding mining as well as processing capability and capacity, and establish a guaranteed price floor for key rare earth materials that gives MP greater long-term earnings visibility as well. I feel like MP currently trading around the $42 region. It's up 2% on the day.
You brought up a really good point, that price floor. So that is a 10-year price floor. It's guaranteed. You get $110 per kilogram of NdPr oxide, right? And so the point of that is to prevent the Chinese from coming into the area, which they dominate, mining and refining for most critical minerals, and then to basically drop the price, because they're heavily subsidized by the Chinese government, until you can't compete anymore, at which time they allow the price to either float naturally or they artificially increase it, and then push you out, right? And that's been the case for the last, I think, 25 years since the Americans basically divested all the mining and refining to the Chinese. I think it was the end of the 70s, early 80s, something like that. So that's what we're talking about here in terms of a price floor. And they're doing it so that they can have a domestic champion that they can kind of fall behind. Now, why I like MP is they're vertically integrated. They've got the extraction, the refining, as well as the finished product supply chain. However, that's all great in theory. what's happening in real life right now is the shorts are in control of MP. That's a fact. Just take a quick look at the chart, right? What you need here is not just the Department of Defense to create a price floor, but for them to actually get anchor clients that say, all right, we're going to buy off you regardless of what the Chinese are selling, so that the government is not the one that's backstopping you. I mean, it's good enough, fine, that you have the government backstopping you initially, but at some point you got to stand on your own 2 feet and you got to be commercially viable. So that's what I'm talking about there. Also, this is done under the Defense Production Act, and the deal marks the first time, I guess, in the Pentagon's history that they've actually offered this Department of Defense deal, and they've taken what we know, a $400 million convertible note, which in stock and warrants, into MP. And that's something that we haven't really seen previous administrations do. Also, there's a possible unlocking of $1 billion Wall Street credit debt consortium. So the Pentagon's anchor involvement kind of acted as a de-risking catalyst to unlock private money from JP and Goldman, all who extended about $1 billion in commercial debt facilities to MP. So I like their cash position or their ability to maneuver from an investment perspective. What I don't like, though, is a lack of an anchor client. I want to see the private market pick this up rather than being publicly backstopped.
Fair enough. I mean, we could talk about some of the technicals here today. Not much to comment, but I mean, as Sharif is mentioning, short interest heavily on this name. And we had that initial pop not too long ago when the tariff tantrum first started. And unfortunately, it just had the inability to hold some of these key levels. We're sitting down 57%. Now, we had Raheem actually. Raheem, we were on live with Raheem when he was over, I believe it was in Washington. And just all about global investors coming into America when it comes to some of these precious metals and minerals. And there was a lot of investment, but MP Materials still down from that $100 marker, especially in a time where you would think AI build out, the performance of this stock and this company should be a little bit better, but that's not necessarily the case, down 58% off the highs.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Let's finally take a look at RKLB, is our last story for the news segment. Rocket Lab has secured a major U.S. Space Force contract under the Rocket Systems Launch Program, which is reinforcing its position as being one of the Pentagon's key commercial launch providers. So this agreement covers 12 suborbital launches with options for 6 more, beginning no earlier than the end of the year 2026. These missions will be launching primarily from Rocket Lab's new Alaska facility, expanding its launch network beyond New Zealand as well as Virginia, while at the same time supporting growing U.S. national security demand. I just want to see levels of RKLB at the moment. It's up very close to 2% on the day, trading around the $65 region.
This is what kind of confused me. And if anybody understands why they're doing this in the chat, I'd love to hear about it. So $266 million, right? And it's supposed to be for 12 base missions, Joey, right? Mm-hmm. And possibly another 6 options, but that would require new money. So we're talking about $22 million, if you do the math, right? 266 divided by 12, that's about 22 and change, so about $22 million per suborbital launch. Okay, great, fantastic. How much does it cost other companies to go ahead and do suborbital launches? $8 million. Why are we giving them almost triple the amount per suborbital launch? Is there some other funding that this is going to be going to here? Because I feel like we're overpaying a little bit, right? So I'm not a big fan of this, and especially this is what's it called? Public money, right? So it's U.S. Space Force. So this is DoD money. So that's my first problem there. That's about nearly triple the average of what you're paying. What I do like, though, is that it expands their 4th launch footprint into Alaska. So now they've got New Zealand, they've got Virginia, and I think they have a couple in New Zealand, and now 1 in Alaska. The cool thing about Alaska is it's going to be a higher altitude, so it's going to be easier to launch, from my understanding, these low Earth orbit satellites. So good luck there. And then a multi-year compressed cadence target. So based upon the contract, they have to basically launch 18 times in 24 months. That would put them at level with SpaceX in terms of launch cadence. And we've been talking about SpaceX picking up their launch cadence a little bit. So I think it's quite ambitious. I love it. I don't think we should rely on one national champion, SpaceX. We know, of course, Amazon's thrown their hat into that ring. And I'd like to see some others, man. And NASA as well. Let's not crap all over NASA, right? Yeah. NASA's taken a bit of a different role lately. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is good. I think, in my opinion. What do you think?
For the overall space in general?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I think it's not bad. Like, I mean, you have to take into consideration Space Force was only launched in 2019. So it's still relatively new, right? So 7 years now. But this is going to be the largest deal between both the parties, which I find extremely interesting. Now, as for the company itself and the overall space, I just don't know if we're there yet, right? Like, it was like with quantum computing, you have the exuberance, you have all the excitement when investors start to step in, but then it's brushed to the side because it's like, all right, we're not quite exactly where we want to be. Now, if there's anybody who I'm going to be looking to get involved with, I mean, Rocket Lab already gone through some exponential growth. Now, we know what our SpaceX has done in the private markets with multi-trillion-dollar valuation before even coming public. I don't know if this is going to be the name specifically that I'm going to be looking at Rocket Lab. I would prefer personally to keep my eyes on SpaceX, even though the valuations are completely different from a market cap standpoint. I just believe the potential is more in favoring SpaceX than what we do have here in Rocket Lab. A couple big government contracts for Elon, and then that's it. I think there's no real competition, and you'll see a clear leader within the space, no pun intended.
I guess I disappointed somebody in the chat there. He's like, why is this Canadian saying we?
Oh,
He must be having a good day.
That's
he must be
all
up. Must be a good day for him. He must be making a lot of money.
bigly.
A lot of money. I'm just joking. No way, man. You're cool. You're cool.
It's all good.
Just gotta tease you a little bit. No way. All right, guys. We got another minute until
Well, I guess you can.
and the Neil, they're
You can
locked,
say,
they're loaded.
You can say we because.
Show him the biceps, Joey, and then he will talk
no.
after that.
I was gonna say we can say we as in the taxpayer. We the taxpayer. Is that
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
right?
Well, we're not paying it. Well, we paid a little bit of
paid.
tax, Joey. We went down there. We paid some sales tax.
When you were down there.
You were down there too.
Yeah, I was down there, but I'm saying in general, like we the taxpayer.
Yeah.
So you can
When I say we, I kind of mean the market. But yeah, you guys get what I mean. All right, guys. It is official. The dead one, Apple, is now the leading
valuable
market
company.
cap in the world. 4.927 trillion.
Yeah.
Nvidia has now dropped into 4.761 trillion. We have a new.
So when NVDA lost 200 billion today.
Bro, Nvidia sneezes 200
Yeah,
billion. It'll
man,
be back
that's
up to 5.5
crazy.
tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
No, I don't
But
think
we're
so.
having a good day, man. Shout out to Ravi Jax. He's having a good day. Shout out to him. We the capitalist pigs
yeah,
says
man.
I love it. Super something Baja humans, yo. Shout out to John. Robert Sharif, we love you like one of us, man. I love you right back, brother. And my sister's American. So I've got a lot of love for Americans, man. You're not going to find any anti-American sentiment for me. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we love Texas and Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. The great state of Texas. I thought it was
great,
fantastic, man. Beautiful, beautiful state. I had a hell of a time there. And when I came back, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna go back again because I was like,
that's what I was saying.
No, but like I completely forgot the Cowboys play there, so I
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
have a reason to go back to Dallas, right?
I
was talking in the sense that like I didn't feel it was like a vacation spot.
It's
not,
No,
right?
no, it's not.
Was that you, Neil? That was Neil.
What did
Of
Neil
course
say?
it was
What did he
Neil.
do, man?
Neil, did you
No,
see the Bills?
listen, I don't like Boston.
Hold on. Let's drag Neil into this. Did you see the Bills? Number 2 ranked, my man, behind the LA Rams to win the Super Bowl. You guys are like, I know, I got it, Neil, but I'm just telling you what the facts
every
are.
year for the last
He said every year for the last how many years they've been number
AFC
1, 2,
favorite.
or 3.
I
whatever.
love you guys, but
Figure
the
it out.
last city in the United States that I would ever go to is Boston.
Is where?
Boston.
What's wrong with Boston?
I have no idea. I'll never
oh.
go there. It's just I can't stand the Bruins, dislike the Celtics, and the New England Patriots for years.
The Scots loved it. They
That's
drank
fine.
Boston Dry.
Yeah, well, that's cool. But the Boston
clam
Bruins,
chowder's delicious,
The Boston
bro.
Bruins are easily my most hated sports franchise.
Clam chowder.
Yeah,
New
it's
England
fine.
clam
Good
chowder.
love. Oh, did you know who the CEO? Do you see the CEO?
I don't like any of those-
Name of Rocket Lab, founder and CEO.
No, remind me.
It's Peter Beck.
Oh, yeah. We did see this.
Yeah.
Speaking of Peter back. Somebody's back in the house. So shout out to
Oh, I didn't see him. Did you see him today?
No, not today.
Oh,
but
yeah,
like you don't
okay.
show up like here for a day.
I should go there for the food. What am I getting over there, man? I don't want any clam chowder or any of that.
They drank them dry, bro. The Scots. They shut down Boston, man.
Yeah, Boston.
A lot of alcohol.
I do like Marky Mark though. He's from there, isn't
And the
he?
Funky Bunch? You don't know about Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
Is that the group he was in?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Dang. I missed
All right, yo. That was crazy. Who was that? That was you, Assassino?
Man.
That was you? Why, Katina, man? Oh, he's failing him. Yeah. That's
Why?
okay.
Because of Boston?
And the Boston take.
Yeah, that's
He
all right,
wasn't happy
man.
with the Boston take. Joey.
That's fine with me, man. I just not a Bruins fan.
We love you guys, man. We'll see you back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. The big boys, they are that away.